2 months have passed since the incident. Caesar bought a new halberd and brought from the institution's library a halberd martial art for himself, and daggers martial art for Theo. After that day they both began closed-door training. Even Theo was excused of helping Robin in his research in order to focus on his training alongside Caesar. During the 2 months, Caesar's level rose to the 5th and Theo to the 6th, and both were steadily moving towards the higher level. But the real progress was made by Robin. Not because he is now at the top of the 3rd level even though he is completely focused on his research, but because he has almost finished the composition of the perfect pattern of fire. Building on his earlier theory, Rubin patiently assembled the scattered pieces to form the perfect true pattern of the major law. Something isn't even found in nature in the first place. He technically completed it except for one piece. No matter how much he used different fuels, that piece was different and he couldn't find a constant shape for it. After so many attempts, he finally gave up to finish it by sitting still. So he called, "Theo, leave whatever you're doing and come here." Theo came running, and Caesar came with him out of curiosity to hear Robin say, "I have a problem. There is a part of the pattern that is always a variable in all kinds of fuels. I can only choose the strongest option available. And that's the strongest known source of the path of fire in the world. Volcanoes. Go ask for me about the nearest active volcano from here. I'm going to there today, and you'll accompany me." "Hey, what are you doing there, you bastard? Go and continue your training." Robin picked up a burning bone and threw it at Caesar, who was trying to escape, but the throw was so accurate that it finally hit his butt. And indeed they set out on the same day for an active volcano located in a small mountain range 70 miles from the city. It was very far, but because of his current level of training Robin and the fact that he now has an official identity card and wasn't afraid of trouble, he was able to reach it before the sunset of the next day. Looking at the wide crater and the viscous liquid exploding inside it, he was amazed. "Wow, I had a fairly long life, but this is the first time I've seen a volcano. How magical." Theo, who was standing behind him with a large bag on his back, rolled his eyes away as if he wanted to say, "How old are you? You don't look like you're 13 yet." Then sat down to rest from the long trip and started thinking about preparing the tent and dinner. But with one look, Robin scanned the complete pattern of fire in the volcano, spotted the missing piece, drew it on a scroll, then put it in the bag and patted Theo on the shoulder. "Let's go, we're going home." "Damn. We've just arrived, at least let us rest a bit." Theo panicked and started pointing at his leg. Robin understood what he was getting at. "What kind of bodyguard are you? Come on. Every minute important." Already starting to walk the same road they came from, which made Theo sigh and walk behind him. Within another day they returned to house 207. Robin went straight into his room and instructed the two not to disturb him no matter what. He wanted to start making the law cultivation technique today. He would begin translating the complete pattern of the major heavenly law of fire into understandable instructions and write them for Caesar. But when he took out the scroll that had the missing piece of the pattern on it, he noticed something strange. The roll was so hot that it melted almost everything around it in the bag. It was clear that the piece of the pattern had an effect on it. When Robin realized this, his body shivered. This was the first time he draws some of the patterns he sees. He always tries to memorize them, and this became easy because he sees the patterns wherever he looks. But he chose to draw this piece because he will not see it again unless he makes another visit to the volcano, and he certainly does not have the energy or the time to visit a volcano every now and then. But he never expected that, if he drew those patterns, it could have such effect. Obviously the scroll doesn't allow the pattern to release its force, and it only translated as heat. But if I drew it on something decent, what would happen? This opened up a whole new world for him. But he quickly restrained his thoughts, shook his head, and returned to his plans to write the major law of fire cultivation technique. After another 2 weeks, he came out of his room with a thick book of about 600 pages and shouted, "Caesar, I have a little toy for you." Caesar jumped out of his seat, and in a moment he was standing in front of him. "What is it, big brother?" "In this book, there is a cultivation technique that has never been seen in this world before. The flames in nature are not pure. It's affected by the things they burn, and therefore the true form of fire cannot be known. Even the Flame Emperor definitely fell into the same trap. As for me, I collected the real, pure law. Theoretically, this flame can burn anything without resistance. It will burn down even the laws themselves. You are the first person on the face of the planet to gain this kind of power. Work hard. Don't you dare let me down. Robin handed the thick book to Caesar and then returned to his room and closed the door again. It wasn't long before the sound of snoring could be heard from inside, and an excited cry from outside. This was the first time Robin had slept satisfied with peace of mind in a very long time. That technique was the crown of his work for almost a century and a half, but it was also just the beginning of his true path. Robin slept this time for 2 days and 3 nights, but he was in an excellent mood when he woke up, especially when he saw Caesar curled up in his room practicing his new technique in earnest. Then he walked a little until he reached Theo's room and found him trying his double daggers technique. He said, "If you don't need seclusion now, come with me. I feel like I need to take a walk." When Theo heard him, he stopped what he was doing and put the long daggers in their sheath, then followed him silently. On the way, Robin said softly, "Theo, you may not know, but what Caesar is now training in is a perfect fire technique that describes the first level of the major heavenly law of fire, a flawless technique that has never and will never appear better. Since you are my subordinate now, I don't plan to leave you weak. You will be my next target. I will give you 3 days to think about what heavenly path you want, then tell me about it, and I will bring you the cultivation technique of its major heavenly law. How does that sound? You are allowed to go to the institution's library and buy any book that talks about the laws and paths, choose whatever you see fit for you, and just give me its name. I will take care of the rest." Boom! Robin's words were said like nothing but made Theo's mind about to fly. Perfect major law technique? I can practice any major heavenly law just by pointing at it. This was way too much for Theo's mind to keep up with. Although he looks clueless, he's still a cultivator and has a general idea of what the word major heavenly law means, nevertheless a perfect one. Also, until this moment he still sees himself as a slave to Robin and Caesar, but Robin's words made him a follower worthy of respect and treated as Caesar himself. While Theo was lost in thought and shocked, he heard Robin giggling, "Oh well, you don't make a good personal assistant anyway. It wouldn't hurt to buy one that really works for me this time." It was just then that Theo looked around and knew where they are, in front of the slaves' platforms. Robin didn't buy Theo in the first place to help him with his research, and he wouldn't buy his next slave to help him either, but he has a big goal in his head. A goal that, if it's done properly, would reshape the world. Robin spent his time looking at the slave platforms, examining them slowly as he had done before, but soon he was left disappointed. No one was suitable. Robin wants something specific, a young man or woman who has not yet formed his pillars but still has a decent cultivation level. He didn't want to start with him from scratch, and at the same time not very old, over 20, and has at least above average soul strength that will help him in training speed. Although his requirements appear very simple, the reality had failed him. Boys and girls of the age he wanted were nobles or high-class commoners that have some cultivation techniques. What would those do on the slaves' platforms? There were some he saw that hardly meet his requirements. They are those who were raised since they were toddlers to be sold as powerful slaves to gain more coins, but clear that they were accustomed to working as slaves. Their eyes were empty, they were completely broken and subjugated. And that is definitely not what Robin wanted. He continued his passage until he reached the same fat seller from before, but this seller was not foolish enough to provoke this young man again. It can also be said that he is a special customer after he exchanged 80 gold coins last time for just 1 slave. I see that my lord has come again. Do you have a special request that I can bring for you? The merchant smiled and rubbed his hands. Robin ignored him and looked at the slaves on his platform one by one, until he reached a 15-year-old, level 6 and average soul strength. This one can't be a commoner. The boy had many scars covering most of his face, which made him unrecognizable, and his left arm was cut off at the shoulder, which raised questions in Robin's heart. The merchant noticed and said, "He is Peon, the eldest son of Baron Camden from the nearby Lying Water Kingdom. Their lands were raided, his family was murdered, and he was captured and sold as a slave. If you are looking for strong young men to serve as guards like the mute behind you, I advise you to take him too. Robin paused and watched him for a while, then nodded. I'll take it. How much is it? Normally a young man like him would be worth at least 200 gold coins. But because his body is badly damaged, I will sell him to you for 90. Deal. Robin nodded. It really was a fair price for someone of the quality. Even with a missing arm, Peon was disturbed hearing this. His pride as a noble still refused to believe that he had become a slave, and that this weak boy who seemed younger than him would be his new master. Yet he gathered himself together, got down on his knees and yelled, My lord, if you're going to buy me, please think about buying my little sister too. I'll divide my food with her and any little place you give us to sleep. It won't cost you anything but her price, and this too I will return it to you if you give me the chance. Please, she's the only reason I prevent myself from committing suicide. Robin waited until he finished, then looked at the merchant. Where is that little sister of his? The merchant was very happy. I wish all the slaves could sell each other like this. Then he said, She's a little girl about 8 years old and barely in the second level of energy cultivation. She is still in the warehouse now. If you want, I can bring her for you to take a look. Only 8. Bring her here to see if it's worth buying, said Robin as he turned to look at the rest of the slaves on the stage. 10 minutes later, one of the merchant's guards came with a girl in his hand, very beautiful and gentle with big innocent eyes. Anyone who saw her would love to pat her head. Even Robin stared at her for a while, but not for her cuteness, but for the strength of her soul. The girl's soul strength is much stronger than average. It's almost catching up with me. I'll take her too. I'll pay 95 in both. That's very little. The girl is beautiful and I can sell her to an old man for more than 20 coins. 100 gold coins and not one more. Do not treat me as a one-time customer. It is clear now that what I need is only available at your platform. We may have more future business together. Sigh. All right, wait a minute. I'll get you your buying contracts. The merchant pretended to be sad but was dancing inside. He ran in a hurry to finish the 2 contracts before Robin changed his mind. Buying 2 slaves for 100 gold coins was a big deal. The little girl was in a state of confusion as she was being sold, and the 2 even argued over her price in front of her. She stood in a loss for a few breaths till she saw her brother standing on the platform looking at her. She burst into tears and jumped towards him to throw herself in his arms. Although his face was completely deformed now, she knew him instantly. She was preparing to scream and threaten suicide, but she heard her brother's voice. Don't worry, Zara. Our master has purchased you at my request. He will take both of us. We will still be together. My dear, don't be afraid. Really? Are you going to stay with me? The little girl couldn't believe what she heard. She was preparing for eternal torment or death after what happened to her family. And whatever we're going to face next, we will face it together. Peon smiled and said while wiping his sister's hair. He didn't know what kind of a man was their new master yet. It was then that the 2 heard Robin's voice. Come on, you 2 continue your meeting at your new home, said Robin, while receiving the 2 contracts from the fat merchant and paid him his money. At home, Robin is sitting in his favorite chair and behind him stands Theo, while in front of him is the disfigured Peon and his little sister embracing his arm. Don't be afraid. I'm a man focused on research and I need followers who do what I can't do. That's all. I won't mistreat you. Really? Won't you do to us as my father used to do to his slaves? Little Zara said innocently, although she was not aware of everything around her. She certainly knew how slaves get treated, especially the females. Of course not. Look at my face. Do you think I'm the tough type? Robin smiled. Yes. Zara nodded firmly. Ahem, whatever, Peon. Do you have an unfinished business out there? I can give you my permission to leave for a month or 2 to finish it, but your sister will stay here with me. Peon was surprised and thought for a moment, then said, No, there is no one left from the Camden family except for me and my sister, and I don't have the strength to take revenge on whoever ordered the attack on us. It's enough for me to stay with my sister in peace for the rest of my life. I like your reconciliation with yourself, Well then I'll tell you what you have to do here briefly. Peon, standing behind me is Theo. He was a slave like you and I bought from the same merchant. What do you think of what you see now? I'll treat you just like him. All I need from you is you to train hard and get stronger quickly. Theo will teach you the energy cultivation technique that I created and will take to buy some clothes for you and your sister. Also, find you a new weapon. Whatever you used before, I don't think it will suit you now with one arm. After you choose, go with Theo to the institution's library and get a martial art for your new weapon. After Robin said it, he threw a bag of coins and his student badge for Theo so he could enter the library as his follower. Before Peon could thank him, Robin laughed. As for you, little one, I can't get myself to order you to train as hard as those monsters. How about we make a deal? You'll be responsible for helping me with my research and handing me what I need. In return, I'll give you personally some training tips. Okay. Oh, you both can choose any empty room in the house and sleep in it together. I won't separate you, but I expect you to work hard for me. Peon knelt on the ground upon hearing those words and pulled Zara to kneel beside him. Thank you, my lord. We will live at your service. On that day, Theo took Peon to shop for clothes and necessities for both him and his sister. And at that, Peon didn't make it difficult for Theo. He was content with whatever he got and didn't ask or chose anything special. He began to resign to his new reality as a slave, afraid that his new master won't be happy anymore if he were too excessive. But he asked specifically for one thing, a cheap mask to cover his disfigured face. And he got what he wanted. Theo bought him a black cloth mask that hid his entire face except for his eyes that were full of sadness and cruelty. Then it was time to choose a new weapon. Peon's primary weapon was the broadsword. This, of course, was no longer possible after losing his left arm in battle. But his next choice was somewhat obvious, and he quickly found it. A light sword with a short handle, ideal for one-handed use. Then Theo took him to the institution's library to buy him a martial art to teach him the technique of the light sword. After entering it, Peon went to choose while Theo waited near the entrance, absent-minded. Robin's words have been echoing in his head since morning. Will he be able to study a major law, like those emperors and their dynasties? It's hardly been more than half a year since he was a naked slave, was on a slave's platform, but now he has such a chance? It was so good to be true. He continued his puzzlement for a while until he woke up to the sound of Peon's fingers snapping next to him. 2 more days passed by in the blink of an eye. Robin taught the little girl the energy cultivation technique personally and started teaching her little things that the girl loved so much, like drawing. Although he was a bit harsh in teaching her to draw, and she didn't understand why, especially when it came to precision in drawing circles and curves. But she didn't care. It's still fun. Theo, come on, Robin shouted. Theo, who was busy teaching Peon the new method of training, came to him. He looked at Robin waiting for his instructions, who said while drawing with Zara, "The 3-day deadline is over. Have you decided which path you want?" Theo nodded. "Then try pointing out things or explaining it in your own way. Damn it, I should start teaching you to write." Theo hesitated a bit before moving towards the nearby candle and blew it out. The extinguishing law? But it's a minor law. Robin was surprised. Theo shook his head quickly and pointed at the room around him. "You mean the dark?" Theo nodded heavily. "Darkness, I don't think the major law of this path would have high combat abilities. Are you sure you want it?" Theo went silent for a bit, then nodded again. "Looks like living in the dark ruins has taken a toll on your character." "Well, I'll see what I can do." Robin nodded and started thinking about his future plans for extracting the major law of darkness. "Big brother Robin, I can teach brother Theo to write if you want," Zara said excitedly and shyly at the same time. As a baron's daughter, she had a high-quality education and certainly more than qualified to teach something as simple as reading and writing. She really wanted to contribute something so that her new master would like her more. Robin patted her head and laughed. "Haha, that's good too. It's going to spare me a lot of work. But remember that the first importance is drawing lessons. You can teach him in your spare time." "Painting again?" Zara was surprised. She finally found something important to do. But her new owner still insists on playing with colors with her. This puzzled her but also made her happy. It seems that her life will not be so bad as she expected. 8 months have passed quickly. Only 2 months remain until the set date for the fight. Caesar is still locking himself in his room studying. His food and energy stones come in from under the door every day. The only thing that reminds them of his existence is the heat from inside every now and then. Peon increased his level during this period, reaching the 7th and starting to make strides towards the 8th. While Theo is still high at the top of the 7th level, he's about to break into the 8th at any time. Even little Zara jumped to the top of the 4th level. Robin himself ascended a level, but even though he is still at the top of the 5th level, no one around dared to underestimate him. They know very well that their master's strength is not in his muscles but in his mind. Just 1 month ago he was able to complete the first level of the Path of Darkness that he made for Theo, and now he's in the midst of turning it into a cultivation technique so Theo can understand it. This was the major law of darkness, something that has not been discovered in the world yet. There are secondary laws associated with it that have been revealed. But the major law itself is completely mysterious. And yet a boy who looks like 13 has managed to do it? But that didn't come easily either. The major law of darkness was much more difficult than the major law of fire to extract its perfect pattern. Robin had to go into deep caves and even dig in his yard and have Theo close the hole on him, all in order to create a good environment to get real darkness he could extract his pattern from. But even though the major law of darkness took a little longer than the fire path to extract and made Robin struggle to get it, the result was much better than he had expected. After about a month of closure, Robin finally came out of his retreat and shouted, "Theo, come here." Theo came excited and terrified of what he was going to hear, until Robin said, "Congratulations to you. At first I thought the law of darkness was going to be about hiding at night or something, but I found much more. Deep abilities such as stealth at any time of the day, swallow abilities, and dark corrosion. I don't know if you meant to ask for this path or not, but you chose well." Robin threw a book of about 700 pages to him. "The path is really not very good as the fire path in close combat, but I think it would be perfect if you chose to be an assassin." Robin hinted, then went back to his room to reward himself with a few days of good sleep, leaving Theo outside. If someone saw his features and heard his heartbeat now, then saw what was in his hand, he would think that he is carrying a box full of treasures and not just a book. But indeed, this book cannot be compared to any treasure. After giving himself 2 days of uninterrupted sleep as a reward for ending the major law of darkness, Robin came out of his room with a yawn. It's been a while since I had such a good sleep. Good morning, big brother." Zara came with a smile and greeted him. "Good morning, how is your work on drawing going?" Robin smiled. "It's not bad. What are you going to do today, big brother? Is there something I can help you with?" "I don't know. Whenever I finish a long research, I feel empty." Robin started scratching his head. Zara stood to the side waiting for orders. Although Robin told her to call him big brother, she hadn't forgotten her standing yet. "Never mind, I'll go to the market for a walk. You can go back to your drawing," Robin said. "Peon, bring all the money we have and come with me. We'll go shopping." Robin's first destination was that restaurant which he visited for the first time. Involuntarily coming here from one of his followers became a festive habit after every good achievement. While he and Peon were engrossed in eating, he heard, "The spirit revitalizing pill is really awesome. It gives me 1 hour to 2 extra hours of work per day. Haha. Didn't I tell you? It is said that whoever wants to shine in his field must stay up all night. And that's what the pill does. Literally. It clears your mind for 2 hours after you take it. Even if you are about to fall asleep, it will turn you sober," the other guy laughed. "But frankly, I thought that its effect would be better given its price." "Absolutely not. 20 gold to buy 2 hours of production isn't bad at all. You can make much more than that if you have something important to finish." Robin, who was sitting busy with his food, was attracted by the conversation and listened to you with deep interest. With one look he knew that the two talking guys were about the 2nd or 3rd level. They could be considered mortals, but since they ate in this expensive restaurant and talked about gold coins in this way, they are certainly not that simple. They are certainly from a large family, but they have no talent in cultivation, so they turn to politics or some kind of arts. But this is not what captured Reuben, but rather the talk about that spirit revitalization pill, and its high price, 20 coins are roughly equal to his monthly allowance as a young generation in the Burton family. Come on. I've found my next goal. Robin wiped his hand and said to Peon, who stuffed the rest of the food into his mouth and followed him. On the streets, he asked about the largest pill shop in the city and went there directly. Welcome. Is there a specific intention I can help you with? One of the girls standing by the entrance said respectfully. I want to know more about the soul revitalizing pill. I heard from a friend that it is very good, Robin replied with a smile. An excellent choice. The spirit revitalizing pill is made with a blend of natural herbs, and its main ingredient is ginseng leaves. Aged from 20-30 years, the ingredients are completely natural and do not negatively affect the cultivation or mental health in the future. The girl said calmly, that was general information that anyone interested could know. Robin cursed in secret. Of course, it won't do any harm then. It's just some crushed plants. What's the difference between swallowing a pill and drinking tea? Ahem. Then what about its effect across energy levels? Asked Robin more. The pill is particularly effective up to the 3rd level. It can give its take a few more hours of resistance to sleep without fatigue, and it is ideal for politicians and young men who want to increase their training hours to increase their level quickly. As for those from the 4th to 6th levels, they are already able to resist sleeping for 2 or 3 days without a problem, so the pill wouldn't benefit them as much, but it will provide them with some clarity of mind as well, and this helps a lot when trying to break through to a higher level, and its price is just 20 gold coins for one. Lovely, well, I'll buy 10 of them, said Robin. The girl was so instantly excited and jumped to fetch him a bottle of 10. Looks like he's not a poor kid came to talk with beauties. Are there other pills worth mentioning here? Robin asked. Of course, sir. There are pills to increase a person's body affinity for one of the 5 paths of natural elements. Pills are completely naturally formed, like a fire pill made of herbs that are dominated by the fiery attribute that can be found in the edges of volcanoes and so on. But the problem with these pills is that they are a bit expensive, 200 gold coins per pill, and the extent of what they offer to its consumer decreases as its level increases until it is almost useless at the 11th level. 200 gold coins to increase the affinity by a bit? Robin yelled. The pill could be said to be more useless than the previous one. Would you, for example, eat water-bearing herbs? Then you would be able to discover the laws in it? No. You'll still need the technique your ancestors left to practice. At the most, this kind of pill can speed up the comprehension of the law technique by a few days. Robin quickly regained his composure. What's next? Of course, we cannot forget the healing pills. According to the degree of purity and components of each pill, its effect and its price will vary. For example, the lowest one is 100 gold coins. It increases the natural healing speed by 20% for 5 days. As for the most expensive one we have at the moment, it is 2,000 coins. It can increase the speed of recovery by 60% for 10 days, she said to a girl proudly. But she did not notice the expressions of Robin, who stood stunned. So technically, 2,000 coins are paid so that the person heals himself within about 6 days instead of 10 days. These pills are useless in critical situations. Maybe completely useless. If I have a few days to heal, why don't I just wait a few more days? Why would I waste my money on pills at these prices? Is there any other? Robin completely lost hope in this industry. There are many types of pills, my lord. I just mentioned a few that someone of your age and strength might like. There is also the compressed energy pill, but it's a little too expensive. It can give its consumer instantly an amount of energy equivalent to a week of continuous training. The amount decreases in the higher level till it completely disappears at the 12th level. But it's still excellent help for those who are about to break through. Another useless pill. The idea is good, but whoever can buy the little too expensive pill is definitely above the 12th level. Only now did Robin understand why he hadn't seen many pills in the Burton family or even the Bradley Institution. Okay. Thank you for your time. That's your account. Robin threw a bag of 200 coins at the girl, then left absent-minded, trying to digest all those information and how to use them. He wanted to get home as soon as possible. The only thing that caught his attention on the way back was a shop selling carcasses and hides of beasts. Robin pointed at the red-horned rabbits hanging at the entrance. Bring me 10 red rabbits. Pick them fat. Another 2 months passed. Robin spent them teaching drawing to Zara, and teaching himself at the same time and a few retreats to cultivate and research that lasted a few days at a time. During the 2 months, he managed to break through to the 5th level as well. After Theo being in a closed-door training on the major heavenly law of darkness, Peon's responsibilities soared sharply. He became responsible for providing food, buying supplies, and fetching resource rations from the treasury. But this also made him begin to feel comfortable in his new home, realizing that his master doesn't harbor evil intentions toward his sister and treats them well. He decided to abandon his anxiety about him and serve him well. Peon was very busy today, much more than normal, and not just him. The entire institution was on a hot plate. This was the promised day. Exactly a year ago, Remus further provoked the followers of their mortal colleague named Robin. It's then that the latter exploded and announced that Lady Mila was his guardian, and that his young brother Caesar would challenge Remus and all his group after 1 year. Anything to do with Lady Mila spreads like wildfire, and that's exactly what happened. After some members of that group gossip and got the news out, it spreads throughout the institution within a few days, which was also the main reason why Robin and his group had not been harassed by anyone else during the year. Everyone was waiting for the outcome. They wanted to know what would happen when Caesar gets killed. Of course, Lady Mila herself heard about what happened shortly after the incident. He dared to buy himself a whole year based on my name. But does he think that I will intervene to save his brother because he brought my name into the matter? Robin annoyed her so much when they met last time. For some reason she felt like a little, ignorant girl in front of him and that he is taking advantage of her. This would be a good opportunity to humiliate him. Knock, knock, knock. Robin knocked on Caesar's door. Are you ready? The door slowly opened for the first time in 10 months. Caesar came out with a thick, shiny halberd in one hand, and a piece of his previously broken halberd in his other hand. He looked a little taller than before, his features sharper, and his strength. At the 8th level, he jumped from a mere mortal to the 8th level in just a year and a half. The oppressive feeling he produced just by standing up made Peon, who was watching from behind, shiver and unknowingly take a step back. This was the first time he saw the guy he was delivering the food for all those months. Ready, Caesar calmly. I trust that you will not disgrace me. You will not disgrace the perfect major heavenly law of fire, and you will not disgrace yourself. Robin nodded and turned and walked out the door, behind him Caesar and Peon, leaving Theo in his seclusion and Zara in her drawing. In the main square of the institution was a circular stage with a diameter of about 50 meters and surrounded by stands that could accommodate about 1,000 people. Here is where the professors friendly fight each other to farther demonstrate their techniques in front of the students. At times, the head of the institution himself comes to give a lecture. And of course, it's used to host fights between the students. Even though these are done in a friendly way as exchanges of experience, in some extreme cases it can be used to settle grudges. But it is still forbidden to make any deep wounds to the opponent. Bradley's military institution is full of the sons of nobles, and the institution does not want to face angry nobles every now and then, unless a contract was signed between the two parties to bear any losses, and this was announced before the fight. In this case, the institution renounces any responsibility and stands to watch on the side. The head of the institution was waiting every day patiently for a letter from Lady Mila to stop the fight, but he did not receive anything. He even sent her a guard a few days ago asking for her opinion, and her response was, "That little bastard hadn't come to beg for his life yet. You can just wait until his brother loses a limb or almost dies, then stop the fight." And there they are. A few minutes remaining, and there was no other message from Lady Mila. All she did was send her Uncle Brown to watch what was going on her behalf, and the head of the institution invited him to sit with him at the seats of honor, to be close to the stage to intervene at any moment. Professors, students, and even some guards and slaves began to fill the stands until there was almost no empty seat left. Even one of the professors took his place in the middle of the stage as the referee, with a contract of agreeing to renounce the responsibility of the institution toward this fight in his hand. Now, nothing is missing except the parties. I am honored that all fellow disciples and honored professors came to see my humble fight. I promise you will not be disappointed. Remus came in and yelled in a loud voice, attracting the attention of the audience. but he found a complete silence, not the reaction he expected, which bothered him so much. I know that you all want to see whether Lady Mila would come today and you don't care about the fight itself, but at least don't make it so obvious. Behind him was walking 4 young men and 3 girls, all the members of the group that Robin challenged that day, all sons and daughters of highly ranked nobles, as the least of them is the son of a baron. The 8 made their to the stage and sat waiting for the challenger. Although they seemed to be relaxed, they were a long way from it. Smearing Lady Mila's name in a low-level duel like this was not a good idea. They wanted to end this Caesar quickly, then get back to what they were doing. Haha. Looks like the fight is about to start. Young Robin has arrived with a brother, the professor on the stage said when he spotted Robin's group of 3 coming towards the stage. But the words quickly got stuck in his throat. Uncle Brown and the head of the institution looked at each other in disbelief as well. All the professors noticed it by now, and even the most powerful of the students opened their eyes wide. What the hell is going on? One of the relatively weak disables in the stands did not understand the reactions and asked a senior next to him, "Brother, why are you all so surprised?" That senior kept focusing on Caesar but said slowly, "Caesar. He's at the 8th level." Those words resounded in the silent stands as if it were the fuse that lit a bomb. How can he possibly reach the 8th level? It is common knowledge that he was just a mortal when he entered the institution a year and a half ago. 8 levels in a year and a half? Monster. Oh my God. Have I been cultivating wrong all this time? Wait, the 8th level at the age of 13. Isn't that a little faster than Mrs. Mila? It is unknown who said it, but it was like a thunderbolt that struck everyone. But Lady Mila has been training from the age of 2, while Caesar was just a mortal a year and a half ago. Someone said what was on everybody's mind. The voices rose in succession. Even some of the professors stood in their places trying to comprehend what was going on. Even Robin is at the 5th level. This is also an incredible speed. But that was quickly put down. Compared to Caesar, who jumped 8 levels, Robin is simply trash. Amid shouting and questions, Caesar raised his halberd and rammed it to the ground, making the audience fell quiet. Then he jumped on the stage with his new halberd in his hand, stand upright in the middle of it, producing a suppressing aura that made everyone question their senses. This aura is not supposed to come out of a person of the 8th level. A professor couldn't help but say in a quiet voice while shaking his head, "My God! Tell Lady Mila what's going on here." The head of the institute, Felix Bradley, told Brown Bradley, who was sitting next to him, who nodded and urgently sent one of the guards. Caesar, who was standing on the stage surrounded with complete silence, pointed his halberd in the direction of Remus and said one word, "Come." The word woke Remus, who still hadn't regained his composure yet. Do you think that because you entered the 8th level, you qualify to fight me? The energy level is not everything. You leveled up very quickly, and it is clear that you lack actual combat experience. Your fighting ability shouldn't be able to defeat someone at 6th level. "Come and we'll test your words," Caesar replied with a straight face. "You overestimate yourself. Brother Remus, leave it to me. I'll wipe the floor with his face." One of the 8th level youths in the group couldn't take it any longer. "Yeah. Go and kill that bastard for me." Remus patted his friend's shoulder. The youth leaped over to the stage to confront Caesar and declared, "If I don't defeat you within 5 attacks, I will change my great name, Bori. I don't care about your name. I will put my life on the line in the contract. But you will have to pay me 5,000 gold coins if I win. You dare or not?" Caesar replied calmly. He was amused when he saw this guy hopping in front of him. "An easy money has delivered itself." Bori waited a few seconds before declaring, "Agreed." This bet was not small. 5,000 gold coins are considered a huge amount even for a noble descendant. The referee waited for a while until he added what was said in the contract. Let the 2 parties sign it in front of everyone, then jumped to the end of the ring and shouted, "Begin!" Caesar's face turned from emotionless into a cruel smile and freely released his aura. "Come, my dear 5,000 gold coins. Show me how you will defeat me with 5 attacks." Bori felt that Caesar's body started growing. He felt that he was a rabbit standing in front of a lion. Caesar's real aura and battle intent, which he had accumulated from living among beasts for more than 26 years, penetrated its way into his heart. He began to hate himself for he decided to advance first, but he gathered his courage, shouted loudly, and advanced with his sword pointed toward Caesar. Humph! Caesar snorted when he saw the sight and raised his halberd with one hand, waited until Bori got close to his range, and, boom! A white light flashed for a moment when Caesar landed his halberd. In that single moment, the halberd surrounded by white cut the broadsword in half, then continued its way to the stage's floor, cutting it 5 centimeters deep. On both sides of the slice there were burns marks. Before Bori realized what had just happened, a punch came out of nowhere and found his nose, making his entire face bulge inward before he was sent flying out of the ring. Silence. Absolute silence. Was this really a fight of two on the same level? This is the closest to a fighter playing with a child. And what was wrong with that terrifying halberd attack? The sliced stage and the raging white flame that is still burning the stage quietly left a deep mark in everyone's mind. Hee. Then this is the power that a perfect major heavenly law carries. Robin chuckled and said in a low voice, scouring Peon, whose eyes opened as if he was seeing a god coming down to earth. He's been living with this monster all those months? From start to finish, Caesar hadn't moved from his original place. Everything was done within a second. He put his halberd back to standing upright next to him and said softly, "Who's next?" This time he was not met with sarcasm from Remus's group, but rather with looks of deep fear. This was not supposed to happen. They were all sure that this would be a bullying fight between the strong and the weak. But they weren't supposed to be the weak side. The plan was to beat and humiliate him slowly on the stage till Lady Mila show up, then apologize, even take the opportunity to speak with such a legendary figure like her. And if Lady Mila doesn't show up, they would have killed him because he scared them with his lie for a whole year. But now? Does he even need Lady Mila to appear? Shit, I can't retreat in front of someone who's 2 levels weaker and much younger than me. I won't be able to raise my head in front of anyone again. Calm down, even if he's strong for his level, it's impossible for him to jump 2 whole levels to fight me, Remus thought while clenching his teeth. He knew it was impossible for anyone else to step out of his group to fight this guy again. So instead of wasting his time and losing more face, he jumped straight onto the stage and declared, "I admit you're strong. And out of respect for you, I don't want to kill you or even maim you anymore. Let's have a friendly fight between 2 rivals." Rivals? You think too much of yourself, Caesar shook his head. Remus clenched his teeth. Don't push your luck too much. No matter what, I'm not going to sign a contract that allows killing or maiming an opponent. Anything else is negotiable. So anything instead of killing and maiming is available? That's fine by me. Let's sign the contract on this, word by word. Remus felt cold when he heard this. It was clear that Caesar was trying to set a trap for him. But it was a trap that he had to jump into. So he agreed and signed the contract. "Begin!" shouted the referee. Hi-ya! Remus took the initiative and thrust his broadsword towards Caesar, who in turn took a more serious stance. The two began a strong clash. Hey! Aren't those moves from the Halberd Basics Handbook from the library? One of the professors asked, and attracted the attention of many to focus on Caesar's moves more. When they realized that it was indeed the basics of the halberd, they sighed. That boy was fighting someone 2 levels stronger than him using something that could be bought with money. It was known that any technique that could be bought with money was trash. The clash lasted about a full minute, in which the two exchanged over 100 attacks, but no one advanced over the other, giving a huge morale boost to Remus, who shouted, "Haha! I admit you're better than I expected, but this fight is over. I didn't use my secondary heavenly law cultivation technique till now. As soon as I use it, I will be the winner." After saying his words, he quickly retreated from the circle of action, and after closing his eyes for a moment, sparks began to fly around the broadsword. It's the secondary heavenly law of fire shards, the newest and least widespread law discovered by His Majesty. It is priceless. Marcus Rufus seems to love his son very much, one of the attendees exclaimed. while the audience was in a state of frenzy at the sight of the secondary heavenly law fire shards. Remus was busy condensing the law around his sword, and the fire shards began to multiply in number and size. Soon the place began to heat up, all this with Caesar watching from the side. After about half a minute, Remus opened his eyes and laughed. "Ha ha! I can't believe you waited for me until I complete my preparation. Are you so self-confident, or are you just an idiot?" "Neither. I just don't want anyone to say I'm bullying you when I activate my own law cultivation technique." "What?" This question echoed all over the stands, and even in the main stand, what Caesar just said was too exaggerated. Theoretically, those who aren't at the 10th level can study the laws, but they will often waste their time and won't understand anything. Therefore, it is natural that no one would think of approaching any law cultivation technique before that level unless he was a true genius. Even a true genius will not necessarily take this decision. The most reasonable option for any young genius is to focus on raising his level quickly until he reaches level 10. Only then studying the heavenly laws will become easier. Why would a true genius waste his precious time on something that will not benefit him? But Caesar just said that he can actually use one. That means he has completed the first level of law by at least 60%. Naturally, jumping from level 10 to 11 takes several years. It's the time needed for a genius to reach that level of law comprehension and build their pillars with it. Several years at the 10th level. When did Caesar start training exactly, and what's his level? Training for a year and a half. At the 8th level. And he has already comprehended more than 60% of the first level of one of the laws. Monster, the word found its way into the minds of every present. You cheat. It is impossible for you to know a law. Even if you knew one, who would be the weakest of all, would you dare use it in front of me? Remus shouted. "I think we'll know when you attack me," said Caesar confidently. "You, hi-ya-ya." Remus didn't speak anymore and jumped with the hot, sparking sword in his hand. Caesar did not try to hide his strength anymore. He raised his halberd, and an intense white flame began to come out from it, creating a circle of 2 meters in diameter. In the blink of an eye, that white flame scorched everything in the vicinity of the circle, the little bigs, tiles, even air itself. Then it began to withdraw and climb over the halberd until a white cover was formed on it. Then continued its climb until it reached the blade of the halberd and settled on it silently. It appeared like a candle. The sudden sight astonished everyone present. This is the same glow that appeared in that blow that defeated Bori. But it was so fast they couldn't understand anything. Even now, as they are looking straight at him and still can't understand what this is. The most surprised was Remus himself. But he gathered his courage and continued his screaming and descended with all his might. Caesar did not underestimate the collision this time, and also waved the halberd with all his strength.
Boom.
The collision of the two weapons sent a shock wave to the stands. The temperature of the wave was so high that the referee had to intervene and set up an energy barrier to help the weaker students. The collusion lasted for about 3 seconds, but it seemed like it was 3 hours to Remus. His sword, it was melting. This is one of the best swords a young noble like him can wield. But that strange white glow made it show signs of melting in 3 seconds? No, not only the sword. He started to feel that his eyebrows and hair were also burning from the intense heat, even though he did not touch the glow. How is this possible? He himself is practicing a minor law of the fire path. How is it possible for him to be affected by the heat to such a degree? No, it is not only Remus and his sword that burn. The sparks and shards coming out from his sword are also being burned and disappear when it touches the white glow. That thing burns fire itself?
Impossible.
Remus yelled and tried to retreat quickly. But Caesar did not give him this opportunity and again waved his halberd in his direction to bring him down again to the same situation. After another 2 collusions, the sword was divided in half, and this time the white flame slightly grazed Remus' body. His armor, underwear, even a large layer of skin on his chest got burned. "Aerf! Get away from me!" Remus screamed out in pain and fell to his knees. Caesar quickly planted his halberd in the ground, then gestured to Pion. Pion understood him and threw over the 2 parts of Caesar's old halberd that Remus had broken and used to torture Theo. Caesar caught his first weapon ever and started to approach Remus. You? What are you going to do? I'm the son of Marcus Rufus. Don't break the contract or you won't bear the consequences. Remus said angrily. Of course I didn't forget the contract. I can't kill me or maim you, right? Caesar chuckled with a cruel smile. Remus was instantly frightened and started shouting with all his might, "Help! Stop this savage!" But no one came forward. Usually, some or even all of the audience would try to interfere to end the dispute peacefully, especially since this is famous Remus, the son of a marquis. But none has moved or even said a word. Everyone was afraid of making Caesar an enemy. Even the referee did not know what to do, so he looked at Felix Bradley, the head of the institution, asking for help. But Felix shook his head and stayed silent as well. It was a simple gesture, but it said a lot. The referee realized that the head of the institution was ready to defend Caesar even if he killed Remus. But what happened next no one expected. Caesar grabbed Remus by the neck and lifted him. Is bullying fun? You know, I could have forgiven you if it was something that concerns only me. But you did one thing wrong. You shouldn't have disturbed my big brother. Caesar shouted and turned Remus to see his back. Then with all his strength planted the broken part of the halberd up his rear. Yeah. Remus gave a loud shriek before he fainted from pain and humiliation. Humph! Caesar spat on the ground, then took out his halberd and jumped to stand behind Robin as before. You know, you could have asked him for 10,000 coins or something useful instead. Robin turned his eyes toward him. But you told me you'd make me strong enough to stick the halberd up his ass. Caesar scratched in his head. It was just an analogy. An analogy. Hey, whatever. It happened. Let's go, Robin said as he turned his back to the stage and walked away as Caesar and Bion walked a step behind him. Just as they were about to get out, Robin stopped and looked at the stand. I hope that my little brother, Caesar Burton, has entertained you all. Then he laughed out loud and continued his way. Most of the audience was already in shock from the cruel sight and that short, weird conversation between the two of them. Even though it was in a low voice, due to the complete silence in the stands, almost everyone could hear it. Why is this cruel-hearted beast so submissive to his brother? No, even when he gave a reason for what Remus had done, he said that it was because of disturbed my big brother? Many of them already decided to remain silent when passing by house number 207. Some of them even decided it is better they stop walking in that street. While the really strong ones in the audience focused more on the part when Caesar said, "You told me you'd make me strong," what did he mean? Was Robin the one who gave him that terrifying white glow? But Robin himself was still at level 5. While many were thinking about what had just happened, a pretty girl with frowned eyebrows was standing in a corner, silently watching Robin's group leaving. Big brother, why did you tell me to do my best? The reactions of those spectators made me feel uneasy. I'm afraid today's events will not go unnoticed, said Caesar as he walked behind Robin. Don't worry, everything is under control, Robin replied firmly. I need you on another urgent mission. What is it? Just say it and consider it done, said Caesar, hitting his chest with his hand. Take Peon and go clean house number 208. Burn the trash we don't need, and if you find treasures or anything of value inside, distribute them between you and the rest. It's time to get the hell out of my house and give me some peace. Haha. Then today we are moving. You will have your peace, don't worry. I want to see who can take something from us again. Not much passed before they reached the residential area. But when they approached their house, they found someone standing in front of him with a chariot being tried by mighty horses. It was Uncle Brown, Mr. Caesar. Lady Mila wants to meet you. Please follow me. Caesar did not answer him and looked at Robin, waiting to tell him what to do, when he heard him saying, Lady Mila is our protector, and it is only natural to show her at least this amount of respect. Let's go. Peon, you clean the trash alone. Then he gestured for Peon to head towards house 208 as he stood smiling at Uncle Brown. His actions left Bradley quite surprised. The invitation was explicitly addressed to Caesar only, but he restrained himself from saying anything further. Caesar's actions are clear. He was very attached to this big brother of his. Bradley could only sigh, okay then. Get in the chariot, we'll leave immediately. The distance between the institution and Lady Mila's manor was about 10 minutes. Then Uncle Robin led the two of them to the same spacious hall from before, but this time they found a sexy, beautiful mature woman sitting in the middle of it. Caesar Burton, when I first saw you here, I thought you were a side character. Who would have thought you are the real star? Come on, I think we should remake our relationship, Mila said with a big smile and pointed toward the empty seat right in front of her. Before anyone could say another word, the door slammed open and entered a burly man with an aura that left everyone suffocated. Haha, Mila, looks like you found a real gem for us this time. Oh, Dad. Mila frowned slightly. This was Galen Bradley, the current head of the Bradley family and the absolute ruler of the duchy. Galen Bradley scanned everyone in the room quickly before stopping at Caesar and smiled. This aura cannot be produced by an ordinary 8th-level cultivator. Good. Very good. Galen advanced and patted Caesar on the shoulder twice, then went to sit on the main chair and pointed to Caesar to sit on the third and last chair. But to his surprise, Caesar did not listen to his command, but looked at his brother in silence, waiting for him to tell him what to do. This was the first time that Galen noticed the presence of Robin in the room. While Galen was about to ask Brown to escort Robin out, he was surprised that Robin moved on his own and sat on the third chair, while Caesar stood silently behind him. This move angered the Duke greatly. Who asked to sit down? You seem to have a little misunderstanding, Your Majesty. Believe me, the one you want to sit here is me, not my brother, Robin said with a smile. I want a young man who has shown talent and strength that makes him the #1 genius of the kingdom. Is that you? Galen replied sarcastically. If it weren't for Caesar, he would have smacked Robin dead by now. No, but I made him. What do you mean exactly? Your Majesty, someone like you sure has a lot of work to do, so let's speak frankly. The reason Lady Mila invited us here and the reason you came here yourself isn't to meet the talented young man, but to make Caesar hand over the details of what he showed in the fight. Right? Hey, you're weak, but at least you're not stupid, yeah. I want the white candle or whatever that was. But you won't have it. And what are you to tell me what I can or cannot do? Galen roared. This little boy is really a master provocateur. Me? Just a mad scientist, I suppose. But I'm not someone from the streets. I'm a son of the Burton family of the Duchy of Alton. Mila interjected. Don't you dare use that card. Your family doesn't even know you're here. If your relationship is good, why did you come asking for shelter? Galen laughed in anger. Huh? Ha ha ha, are you threatening me with a family that barely holds an earldom? Do you understand the difference between a duke and an earl? To answer your question first, Lady Mila, more than 1,000 people have seen what Caesar can do and heard his name quite loudly from me. What happened today will spread like wildfire in no time. I don't rule out that those from the Burton family have already heard Caesar's name while we are talking here. As for why I came here and didn't return directly to my family, it wasn't because we have a grudge, but because I don't like the idea of being at the mercy of anyone. But you are at our mercy now. Mila narrowed her eyes, clearly still not understanding where he was getting at. No, my lady, perhaps a few hours ago I would have been at your mercy, but not anymore. Not after the name of my greatest achievement Caesar Burton has spread. What's a duke and an earl? Caesar has shown peerless talent. Even a brainless idiot would know that Caesar would at least become sage. Making a move against us would be a crime against a future powerhouse. It's a crime against the Duchy of Alton and against all the Black Sun Kingdom. The Burtons may be nothing to you, but what about the Altons? The Altons? You shameless thing. Do they even know you? You think they would care if you and your brother disappeared today? It has nothing to do with blood relations and vengeance, it's about politics. It always is, isn't it? The Duchy of Alton will work with the Burtons and have justice on their side. They will take advantage of the situation to get the approval of the royal family and other duchies to impose penalties on you or even take the opportunity to take your lands and titles. If we go back to our family, they will take advantage of us. If you keep us here for the white candle, then they will take advantage of you. It's as simple as that. It won't matter whose blood they will suck. This is human nature. Trust me. Any kind of move against me would be extremely unwise. Galen went silent for a few seconds. So you used us to escape your family's control, and now you are using your family to— That's right, Your Majesty. I'm just balancing the scales. Are you always this insolent? The Duke was really amazed by what he heard. Wasn't he afraid of him at all? I'm just telling the truth, Your Majesty. Well, you have fully captured my attention. You say I can't make a move on you, but at the same time you need me to balance the stakes against your family. How are you planning to do that? I won't sit you in my lap, give you a 200 coins allowance per month, and even put myself in an awkward situation with the Duchy of Alton for nothing. I can just kill you or hand you to the Altons in exchange for benefits. That's what I want to hear. Now we can talk. Robin smiled and leaned hopefully. I've got something you want. Ha. What do you, a 13-year-old, have and this Duke doesn't? Don't forget that you are here to get the white candle technique. Please don't underestimate me. It has its consequences, Robin said seriously. You are not funny at all, are you? Just tell me what else you have then. Galen was very annoyed. From the start of the conversation until now he couldn't win. I have this. Robin took out a palm-sized beast hide from his pocket. It was completely ordinary and blank, except for a simple flame drawing with the number 6 in the middle of the flame. What is this? The Duke quickly examined this piece of beast hide, soon realizing that it isn't as simple as it looks. The piece of skin was exuding a clear, fiery power. What kind of a beast is this? Oh, that skin is just a red rabbit. This species can be found with large quantity in any beast zone, Robin replied casually. How is it possible that just a red rabbit's skin has such strength? Boy, I advise you not to try playing tricks on me. Haha. This is not the time to be surprised yet. Lady Mila, do you have a large space here? A training ground, for example, or something similar? Mila was surprised by the question and replied, Yes, I have. Excellent, let's go then. Then Robin stood up and looked at the Duke, waiting for his reply. Hey, all right, let's see what you got. The Duke rose and led the way toward the training ground. This training ground was meant for bodyguards, or more precisely, the personal troops of Mila Bradley. The training ground was attached to Mila's house, so they quickly arrived. An area of about 100 square meters, backed with about 500 fighters whose strength ranged from 6 to 10. This force is actually very good for an elite troop. Normal armies are usually made up of people at levels between 3-5. Clear the area at once, Mila shouted. In complete silence, the 500 soldiers left whatever they were doing and lined up in 2 parallel rows to one side within moments, causing Robin to whistle, Good discipline? Humph. Just do what you want to do quickly. Ha. Well, Mr. Duke, I advise you to keep your eyes on this piece of hide. Robin passed some energy into it. This made the soft piece of hide become so hard that it can be used as a knife. Then threw it to the middle of the field. Everyone had their eyes on the piece of hide. Both Galen and Mila, Uncle Brown, and the soldiers. Even Caesar didn't know what this was. Suddenly Robin made a hand gesture. Boom! A huge explosion took place in the middle of the field. Some soldiers took a step back. While everyone opened their eyes to the extreme, even Mila covered her mouth with her hands. What was this? How could such energy be stored within just a piece of rabbit hide? The explosion can be compared to a full attack from a person at the 6th level. But those of the 6th level can't use the laws to attack. You are right, and the damaged area is much bigger than what a 6th level fighter can achieve. Right? A single piece of skin can seriously kill or seriously injure more than 20 soldiers at the same time. Uncle Brown and even senior officials and elite army commanders roared in the training area. Whatever we have just seen is something new to the world. You are right, boy. It looks like that you really are the creator of that white candle. But why do you think that piece of skin can compensate me for claiming the white candle technique? It is really strange and new, but the explosion is barely equal to the full attack power of a 6th level person, said the Duke as he tried to suppress his excitement as much as possible. Whatever the outcome of today's meeting, he found himself a gold mine. At this moment he felt like he was hit by a thunderbolt. Unless, looks like you've figured it out already, I see you're not a duke out of the blue. Indeed, I can mass-produce this kind of hide. You can sell them to the sons of countless nobles, or you can use them to strengthen your army and expand your lands. Whatever you do with it, it will reward you with much more than getting a single white candle technique from me. The Duke's eyes were starting to shine with stars. This is far better than he expected. Indeed, the sons of the nobles are large in number, and their fathers will not be stingy in buying something like this for them. And if his army was equipped with enough quantity of these hides, what would they look like in the battle? If 50 of them were thrown at an 18th level cultivator, what would happen? He saw Robin makes a gesture with his hand before the hide detonated. Does that mean it could be used in ambushes? The endless possibilities of using this new weapon began to accelerate in the Duke's head, and with it the blood flowing through his body. Even his body hair began to stand up. He saw a brilliant future waiting for his duchy. How many can you supply me per month, and how much does it cost to produce? I can sell you 100 of these hides per month. The price will be 20 gold coins per one. That's a lot. I can buy a few good slaves for that amount, the Duke shouted. You can buy a 20-coin slave that can kill this many enemy soldiers? Haha, please tell me, where can I get those? Just listen to me, the land you gain from your campaigns using my weapon will be more than enough to make up for your expenses. You can even sell some to cover costs while keeping the rest for your army. However you look at it, you won't lose out on this exchange. How do I explain the sudden appearance of these skins when the royal family asks me? Just sell them some hides then, and tell them you've met an independent mad scientist that doesn't want to be known, and that you'll serve as his middleman in the mortal world. But what are you, really? Haha, you won't lie. I'm just a crazy scientist. I have one last question. You could have told me that you had a powerful teacher who passed you the technique and even these hides, and I would have believed you and tried to use you to make a relationship with him. Why did you directly admit that you are the inventor? This question was in everyone's head, and they all turned to him waiting for his answer. All but Caesar, who just smiled and shook his head. He knew quite well what his father would say. Why the hell would I attribute my hard work to a fictional character? If you are that stupid and decided to make a move against me despite all of what you saw, then I will just die. This is your loss and the loss of the whole world, not mine. Robin shrugged and gave a loud laugh. The place was silent for a while. Then they too burst out laughing. This kid's arrogance knew no bounds. But he was actually right. Okay, well, what's the name of your invention? We won't keep calling them weird hides, are we? Asked Mila. Let's call it Talisman. 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 Not bad. This talisman of yours will change the course of future wars. Young man, you have every right to be proud of yourself. Galen patted his shoulder. It's only the beginning, Robin smiled. I have a small request. I hope everything between us remains a secret, at least temporarily. That's normal. Don't worry. No one will utter a word. I promise you this. But what about your family and the Duchy of Alton? I don't want a headache from them. That's easy. I'll just announce that I'm comfortable here at your institution and don't want to leave. As long as I'm being seen in public healthy and kicking, they won't have an excuse to attack you. But, ahem, I'll keep a good relationship with my family in case you decide to play any tricks on me. Everyone was surprised by Robin's response. He was talking to the Duke like he was his old classmate. Haha, as usual, honest to the point of rudeness. Well then, so be it. Also, you don't need to worry about revenge from Marquis Rufus after what Caesar did to his son. I'll talk to him and end the quarrel once and for all. Excellent. Oh, one more thing. I expect you to raise our allowance to 1,000 gold coins per month. This will help me do more research freely. Arg. All right. Robin nodded, then moved to leave. Caesar followed tightly behind. While everyone was busy in his thoughts, Mila was busy looking towards the back of the teenager walking in front of her. He is neither an ancient sage nor a supernatural being. He is a young man of her age, but he has already contributed to their army far more than she did, and contributed to the progress of the whole world more than all her predecessors combined. Big brother, why did you tell them it was the red rabbit's hide? Can't they now bring similar hides and try to redraw that flame pattern on it? They will surely try to steal your invention, Caesar mentioned worriedly after they got out of Mila's mansion. Haha, you mean that flame drawing? Let them do as they please. What makes the talisman special is invisible to the naked eye. That flame drawing was randomly drawn. Just a distraction to waste their time on it, and also to differentiate between the types of talismans. Invisible? Can the real pattern ever be discovered? It could. Maybe the Flame Emperor or someone of his bloodline could break the code if he worked on it for some time, but then I'd have moved on to invent something better, hee. Caesar sighed in relief. He was overthinking. How could he have thought of something that his big brother hadn't thought of? When Robin returned, he found Peon has finished cleaning House 208, so he ordered Caesar and Peon to move there. Theo will move when he comes out of his isolation, and that Zara stays with him to continue practicing her drawing, but goes to sleep at House 208 with her brother every evening. After he eventually had some peace in the house, he sat down and started planning his course for the next period. Today's events compressed his schedule a lot, and his previous plan of staying low-key is no longer available, especially after the talismans appear in the first battle. After thinking for a while and getting his subjects in order, he decided to start drawing the talismans required of him for this month. Although the work of the talismans seemed complicated to the Duke and everyone that was present there, it was actually quite simple. All Robin had to do was draw a part of the fire pattern, the part responsible for causing the explosions, then use a trick he devised based on the perfect law of fire to make the pattern disappear inside a piece of skin. The whole process barely requires a few minutes. So, in practice, Robin could make the 100 talismans in 2 or 3 days, but he refused to increase the number he sold to the Duke in order to keep him hungry for more as long as possible. The next few days saw new news spread like wildfire throughout the duchy, and quickly found its way all over the kingdom. A super young man named Caesar Burton, 13 years old and at level 8, can jump levels to defeat those at the 10th level easily. The age combined with the high level and the formidable combat power gave Caesar an aura of mystery and prestige. This is the #1 genius of the kingdom's young generation. No, he is the best in the past 2 centuries at least, surpassing even the famous Lady Mila Bradley. Then another piece of information that shook the whole kingdom was released. It was confirmed that Caesar was just a mortal a year and a half ago. If his first characteristics were enough to make him an absolute genius, this piece of information made him a living legend. Strange rumors and legends began about him, while he was sleeping snoring in house number 208, as it was happening at this moment at the Alton Duchy. You know, I heard that Caesar Burton's mother was a goddess and his father was a demon. Stop your nonsense. There is no such thing. I heard his mother carried him for 5 years and feed him the blood of beasts instead of milk. Wow, really? Hey, who mentioned Burton? What are you talking about? Didn't you hear, brother? There's a guy named Caesar Burton that showed up in the Duchy of Bradley. He's legendary. You know? Someone at the 10th level provoked him while he's just a little stronger than a mortal, and what was his response? He set a date for the fight in 1 year. Just 1 year. In the fight he displayed his crazy cultivation speed and unrivaled combat ability. He defeated his opponent in a ferocious manner, then shoved a damn iron staff in his ass in front of everyone. Haha, he's amazing. Everyone got fired up again. They won't get bored of this story until a very long time. No one noticed that the man who asked for Burton's name just now has vanished. That man's name is Jewel Burton. And what he just heard was tremendous news that must be conveyed to the elders of the family immediately. I need to meet the patriarch immediately. I have urgent news. Jewel Burton yelled as he saw the guards in front of a huge building. He had made his way from the tavern to the patriarch's office in a few minutes, but he felt it was years too late. One of the guards looked at him emotionlessly. Does your breaking news have anything to do with Caesar Burton? Eh? How did you know? Jules opened his eyes wide. Your urgent news wasn't urgent enough. Go and sit there with your peers. They all brought different news about Caesar before you, said the guard and pointed toward a group of people, about 20 in all. All these. May I ask what the patriarch will do about this? You don't need to worry about this, Jewel. The patriarch is already in a meeting with the council of the family to discuss the news and what to do about it. Go and sit with them. Perhaps the patriarch will summon you. Most of them came with different news. One of them came shouting that a relative of ours slept with a goddess, and their descendant was named Caesar. Haha. Jules Burton was surprised, but he did as the guards told him and went to sit quietly with those who preceded him. You all must have heard the news. Do any of you have an opinion? Patriarch Brian Burton said calmly, but there was excitement evident in his old eyes. Uncle, it's probably just a name similarity. If we had someone like that, we would definitely have noticed him from a young age. A middle-aged man said. Why not be a bastard that one of the family men gave birth to while on his travels and left him behind? This is really an option. We have thousands of men in our families, and I don't rule out something like this happening. Actually, it's pretty common. Are you saying we just go and recognize him as one of us? What if it's a plot against the family? Who would plot against you by giving you such a genius, you stupid old man? We will not lose anything by just meeting and inquiring more about him. The argument continued among the council members for about half an hour, when the patriarch's voice sounded, Okay, I've heard enough. Let us send an envoy to Caesar Burton to clear the doubt. But that envoy must show enough respect and be strong at the same time. He must show our goodwill and our appreciation for him without showing any weakness on our part. Do any of you have a suitable candidate? Billy. Right, our best front right now outside of the patriarch is undoubtedly Billy. Everyone nodded their heads. Then it's done. Billy, I expect a detailed report on Caesar Burton in front of me in a couple of weeks. I won't disappoint you. A young-looking man standing at the side of the room bowed and disappeared. Yeah. Turn right a little and... Good girl. Haha. Robin was overjoyed. Zara was able to draw her first talisman just 5 days after his meeting with the Duke. Although she was not part of the drawing of the original copy, watching Robin draw the 100 talismans in a row, in addition to her strong soul and her training in drawing during the past months, it made the pattern drawing very simple. Although it took about half an hour to draw the pattern, and she couldn't finally hide it inside the piece of hide, this still made Robin quite happy. Maybe her ability didn't help him now, but she will definitely be of great help in the future. As he praised Zara, a voice echoed outside. I am Billy Burton of the Burton family in the Duchy of Alton. I have come to convey the family's greetings to the young Caesar Burton and have the honor of meeting him. Billy. Robin was surprised and jumped towards his window to find his old friend standing in front of house number 208. With one look, he could determine Billy's level. 21. This is an excellent level for a young man who is still a century and a half old. With his original talent, he was supposed to never reach this level in his lifetime. Haha. Billy, it's been too long. Hurry up and come in. Robin waved from his window at his old friend, who, in turn, was astonished when he heard his name called in such a friendly way. Who might know him in the Duchy of Bradley? But when he turned his head and saw someone waving to him in the window of the next house, You. He took 2 steps back but then took 3 forward and narrowed his eyes in confusion, as if he was still trying to decide whether what he was seeing was real. Haha, come here, you little bastard. It's been all these years since we met, but you will stay there and look at me? You. Rob. No. That's unreasonable. You're a kid, you haven't turned 14 yet. Even as a saint, Billy couldn't control his feelings now. Just come and let us continue our conversation properly. Caesar, buy some good wine and come too. Caesar, who had already opened the door, nodded. Yes, big brother. Then he hurriedly ran towards the establishment's restaurant. Billy watched the young man who was running in front of him after one command from Robin. Is this the Caesar the kingdom is talking about? Everything happened quickly and Billy could not comprehend anything but decided to go to that boy, who pretended to know him, and wait for Caesar to come back. Come sit down. How have you been all these years? Robin smiled and asked. Hey, don't try to confuse me. You do look like someone I know, but that person is probably an old man or maybe dead now. Billy looked sad when he mentioned his friend. I wouldn't have died so quickly. When we parted, I told you to send a message to the patriarch that I would go training. I didn't say I was going to commit suicide. A message? Are you really Robin? Billy stood dumbfounded. And who else? Robin chuckled. Robin. Billy came up and hugged him tightly, then left him and began to look carefully at his face. What happened to you? How is it possible that your body hasn't gotten old? No, it's gotten a year younger. I found a good beauty cream for my skin. Would you like some for your ass? Said Robin. His cheeks were still held tight in Billy's hand. This is not a topic you can joke about. At least tell me what happened to your cultivation. You were at the 10th level when you are now at the 5th. Don't waste your time with questions you won't like its answer then. I can't tell you what happened to me. Just know that I'm Robin in blood and flesh. Can't you even tell me where you have been all these years? I have worried about you so much. The patriarch still sighs and shakes his head when your name is mentioned before him. Bay finally calmed down and returned to sit in front of Robin. I told him that I would go out to study the heavenly laws, and that is exactly what happened. Billy was about to ask more questions when the door was opened and Caesar came in with a bottle of wine. Excuse me, Robin. I have a job to finish. After I'm done, we will continue our talk. Then he rose from his sitting, picked up the bottle from Caesar's hand, and placed it on the table. Mr. Caesar, please don't trouble yourself. I've come from afar to talk to you for a bit. Do you mind if I take a few minutes of your time? Caesar looked at him from top to bottom, then moved quietly and stood behind Robin. I don't know who you are. If you want something, talk to my big brother about it. What? Since when do you have a little brother? Billy was surprised by this development and turned to Robin. Well, technically he's my adopted son, but it would be weird for him to call me daddy when I'm in this shape, no? Robin chuckled. Your adopted son. The young man who shocked the whole kingdom is. Your adopted son. Hey, why so surprised? It's not like I've never done the same thing when I was his age. An apple doesn't fall far from the tree, haha. Hey, really, the Burton family is fortunate to have you as their son, but unfortunate at the same time. Robin, why are you here at Bradley's institution? Is this your way to stay away from us? What have we done to you to deserve this? And do I understand that Caesar will walk the same path you chose and have nothing to do with us? Billy shook his head and sat down. He's already given up on his mission. Why are you talking like I've given up on the family? Haven't you? Of course not. I just wanted to live my life my way and leave my mark in the world's history. Now that I've done what I wanted, I don't see a problem with reconnecting with the family. But you better forget that my surname is Burton before that happens. Robin said. What do you mean by your words? Am I not clear enough? Robin's cheerful smile disappeared and turned serious. I mean, I will help you as a partner. I don't want someone to come to talk to me about family love and bullshit to try to take more benefits from me. Depending on my mood and my satisfaction with your actions, I will make my own decisions. I can only give you a promise that I will think about the family first if I have more than one choice. Billy was starting to get agitated with his old friend. Has the solitude of all these years affected his mind? With all due respect, what makes you think you qualify for such a relationship? Billy contained his anger and asked calmly. Robin didn't speak anymore. He just gestured to Zara to go pick something. Everyone waited until she came back with 2 talismans. One red with a flame logo and the number 6 written inside it, and the other was more dark-colored with a black ball logo and 5s written inside the black ball. Billy was looking at both talismans the moment Zara walked in. His features quickly turned intense. These hides contain energy inside them. Robin picked up the 2 talismans from Zara and threw them at Billy. Take these 2 and go to an empty area outside the city. Make sure you are all alone. Then all you have to do is pass your energy inside and do these seals until the power is activated. Then Robin taught him to seal the fire talisman and the darkness talisman. With your current strength, I trust that you will not be late. So let our conversation stop at this point until you return. Robin then pointed towards the exit. Billy didn't know what this was, but it seemed important. He didn't say a word and silently disappeared. Pour the wine, you ungrateful thing. Did you bring it for us to watch? Robin shouted at Caesar. Coming. After the time it took for Robin and Caesar to drink 2 glasses. What was this? What the hell was that? A frightened voice came from outside as Billy quickly appeared before them, sweating, with burn marks on his clothes and eyebrows. How was it? Robin chuckled. Bastard. Why didn't you tell me to throw the red skin away before activating the seal? Haha, that way you can better judge its power. With your level you won't be hurt too much, right? Now tell me. What do you think? It's awesome. The red skin produces an explosion with the power of a level 6 cultivator. But the explosive firepower and a wide range can be put into various uses, especially since it can be activated remotely with a hand seal. It can be used in traps or sold to youngsters to protect themselves. No, even saints can carry it, using it to distract the enemy or deal a final blow to the opponent if both of them are about to die. But the black one. The black one. It hid me for 5 whole seconds. With my speed, I can do a lot in 5 seconds, no. Even 1 second would be enough for an assassination attempt or a surprise attack. How is it possible that you have such things? Billy couldn't control himself. His mind hadn't fully comprehended what had just happened yet. This kind of technology wasn't supposed to exist yet. These were the talismans of fire and darkness. Little toys I made recently. What do you think, Billy? Do you think I am qualified for a partnership with the family? Now Billy just thinks of him seriously. Just a partnership? In exchange for a few darkness talismans, the patriarch himself would be willing to personally kiss your ass. Literally. How many talismans can you produce of the 2 types in a year? And how much for one? Billy didn't have many expectations. If he told him he'd make one of them in a few years, he'd never doubt. Those things were way ahead of their time. A year? I made a deal with the Duke of Bradley to sell him 100 fire talismans a month at 20 gold coins each. But since you're my family, I'll give you some preference. How about 150 fire runes a month at 15 gold coins? Billy swallowed his saliva hard when he heard this. He couldn't believe what he just heard. These talismans could be mass-produced at such a low price. Passed on this, the family can circulate talismans to their own army and use them in wars. A year from today, they will have 1,800 fire talismans. If these things appear on the battlefield, the dream of upgrading the family's lands and title is no longer a dream. Billy took a breath to calm himself, then asked, "What about the darkness talismans?" "That's the problem. Dark runes are so much more difficult and cost me so much more to make. Even Duke Galen Bradley doesn't know they exist yet." Robin started rubbing his forehead. Billy got so nervous. Those darkness talismans would definitely be much more beneficial to the higher-level cultivators than the fire talismans. I think I can provide 5 talismans a month of this kind, and each one will cost 100 gold coins. What do you say? What dash? Deal. Billy almost jumped out of his place. Even 1 or 2 talismans in his lifetime would have been enough to make him happy. But Robin offered 60 per year, and cheaply too. This is literally buying a chance to assassinate high-ranking officers of the enemy armies with only 100 coins. We have a deal then. Alright, you came for Caesar. Tell me honestly, what exactly does the family wants from him? You can rest assured now, he's your adopted son. How can we try taking him from you? These talismans are more than enough to put you in a very high position in the family, and no one will try to make things difficult for you or him. Billy promised. Just tell me what the offer is. If he were of our blood, I would offer him protection and resources in return for fighting under the Burton family banner. I agree. Billy couldn't believe what he heard. I said I agree. Caesar will benefit nothing from sitting next to me with his hands on his cheek. Take him with you, give him a good and steady allowance, enroll him into competitions and throw him at dangerous zones. It's even better to get him into some wars to make a name for himself and increase his experience. But this is under the condition that you do not lose sight of him even for a second. Billy, if my boy gets killed or maimed while he's with you, you won't like my reaction. Robin said seriously. A strange threat to come from a 5th-level teenager. But after seeing what the talismans could do, Billy had to take him seriously. All right, Count on me, we will appoint one of our great uncles to protect him all the time. If they all refuse, I will protect him personally. This was no small promise. Billy was a strong candidate to be the next patriarch and was assigned many important tasks and is running a huge section of the family's business. The patriarch would not allow him to quit all of his work to run after Caesar around, so he would probably appoint someone stronger than Billy to take over. Good. I see we'd have no problems then. Caesar, this is Billy Burton. He's my cousin and my friend, and that makes him your uncle. He'll take you with him to the Burton family to expand your horizons. Obey his instructions. Yes. Caesar nodded unwillingly. Good. I'm looking forward to some epic news about you then. All right, Billy, keep the talismans a secret for now. You can only tell the patriarch and the most important old men in the family, and you are not allowed to reveal it in wars either until I say otherwise. What? Why? This world shall know its existence at the right time. It would stare quite a storm when it appears for the first time. I'm not prepared yet. Leave me some time to enjoy the peace while it lasts. Will you? Robin chuckled. As you wish then, Billy nodded. Do you have other instructions? Just send any random uncle I know every first month to receive the talismans and give me my money. Okay. I understand. Let's go, Caesar. Billy stood up, but paused before turning around and leaving. He heard, wait. He turned around to face Robin. Is there something else? How did he die? Finally, Robin found enough courage to ask. Billy immediately understood who he was asking about. It's his father. That guy was already old when Robin left, and with his talent, it was granted that he would never advance to level 11. It is impossible for him to stay alive for so long. He started a bar fight about 40 years ago over a few coins and got stabbed repeatedly to death. It suits him, I guess, said Robin with mixed emotions. Do you want to know about your mother, half-brothers, and sisters? No need. I already know what I need to know. You can leave now. Robin, you've changed a lot, but I think it's a change for the better. I'm happy for you, stated Billy, then walked out of the house quietly, and Caesar followed him closely after cuddling Robin one last time. Have I changed? Maybe this has always been my personality. I just didn't find enough strength or passion to show it. What do you think, Zara? The standing girl shrugged and extended her lower lip. Equals. Over the following days, Robin was busy helping Zara make talismans day and night. He wanted to finish the orders for the next few months and have them ready for delivery on the first of each month so that he wouldn't bother with them again. 20 days passed quickly. And the first order was delivered to the two families, and the orders for the next 5 months were already prepared. On that day, when he finished the last talisman, he summoned Pion. Pion, I am currently free, and I want to explore more laws of the world, so I decided to start making a technique for another major law. Which major law do you want? Me. Pion's eyes under his mask opened completely. Would he be able to carry the same strength he had seen from Caesar? The strength that made him famous throughout the kingdom? Yes, but choose quickly. I will begin my seclusion at once. I've always been fond of the path of the wind, Pion said. The wind? Really? You could choose any law in existence, but you settled on the wind. Robin exclaimed. I heard that the Wind Emperor is very fast and can generate storms when angered. He was my hero when I was young, Pion stated while scratching his head. You're from the Lying Water Kingdom. I expected that you would ask for the Water Major Law, or at least say that you admire the Water Emperor, but the wind? Haha, interesting. Never mind. The wind isn't bad either. I will get it for you. Robin put his hand on his shoulder and went to his room to get ready. 2 days later, he came out of his room and ordered Zara to bring food and drink to Theo from under his door and to complete the training to speed up her production of talismans during the day, while he took Pion, who was carrying a huge bag on his back, and left silently. His destination was a few places saturated filled with the wind's path, like narrow valleys that serve as wind pathways or high mountains. Like fire and darkness, the wind patterns also differed according to the place, things like how heavy the grains carried by the wind, the obstacles it hits, and so on. The pattern of the major law of the wind was associated with the movement of particles almost completely, and these movements are easily affected by the geography of the place. Robin continued to monitor and move from one place to another for about 4 months before he finally decided that what he had collected was enough and took Pion back towards the institution. During this period he broke through to the 6th level without even trying. On his return, he found that Zara had done an additional 2 months of talismans on her own. Her rate was much better now. He asked her about what happened during their absence and found out that she had handed over the monthly orders to the 2 families and received the price agreed upon without any problems. And that Theo still hasn't come out yet, but he didn't worry about him. He knows best how hard it is to practice the perfect law of darkness. Pion, I'm going to take a break to write the perfect wind technique for you. Focus on your training to increase your level quickly and take care of the house with your sister. She obviously did well in our absence. He stated and went up to his room directly to complete his perfect major law technique number 3 in just under 2 years. A little less than a month has passed since Robin started his seclusion, and although the time he needs now to crack a major law and write its cultivation technique is less than before, the difficulty of the process was still there. He is just getting used to it. Today at last he finished the technique. When he came out of his room he found Theo, who had broken through to the 8th level now, kneeling in front of the door with his eyes closed and his breath faint. He was asleep. How long have you been kneeling here? Robin was surprised. Theo opened his eyes, finding Robin in front of him, lowering his head even more. He's been there for about 4 days, Zara explained. Stand up, you idiot. I don't want you to kneel down to show your gratitude. You must work hard for me. He gently smacked Theo's forehead. Zara, where's your brother? He is in seclusion to quickly raise his level as you commanded, big brother. Call him then. I have something for him, nodded Robin, then went to sit on his sofa, holding a large book and 2 small ones. It didn't take a few seconds before Pion entered the room and bowed slightly in front of Robin, before the latter gestured to him to sit next to him, then went back to look at Theo. Theo, I'm sure you've gained a lot from your solitude. Why don't you show us something? Robin said with a smile. Theo nodded in affirmation, and before he could fully raise his head again, he was gone. What? Pion stood in astonishment and started sniffing around him. He's gone. Not only in appearance, everything about him is gone. Amen, well done. Robin nodded. This was part of the technique he wrote for him, and of course, he knows it well. It is called perfect invisibility, where darkness swallows up everything around the body so no sound, light, or smell leaks out. Just a person much stronger than Theo would have the feeling of having someone else around. What else have you mastered? Although Theo is still in stealth mode, Robin's eyes followed him step by step until he reaches the table, which astonishes Theo greatly and made Robin grow even more in his eyes. After he arrived, he picked up a cup and raised it, which caught Zara and Pion's eyes and turned to look at him. But then the cup also disappeared. Robin nodded when he saw this. Asterisk perfect swallow asterisk, that's nice. How about shadow mobility? Theo cancelled his invisibility and appeared in front of everyone. But suddenly it seemed as if he had been pulled towards the shadow of the table and disappeared again. This was different from the perfect invisibility he used before. In perfect invisibility, he uses the law of darkness to create a barrier around his body anywhere and anytime. As for shadow teleportation, it can only be used in places rich with shadows, but it is much easier to move this way and make surprise attacks. Dark scope? Robin asked. Theo appeared again but soon disappeared. This time all of their surroundings disappeared with him into pitch-black darkness. One could not see his nose inside. Robin continued to ask him about a few more features before he finally applauded. Excellent! Seeing these techniques in action is much better than writing them. The perfect law of darkness is really cool. I think I should practice some of them too. Hold! Robin tossed a small booklet at Theo. This is an energy cultivation technique that takes darkness path as its main focus. It will be much better for you than what you are using right now. Theo accepted it calmly and bowed again, though the idea of a better energy cultivation technique made him agitated inside. He actually got used to things like that from his master. What could be more surprising than the major law of darkness which all the sages of history failed to come up with? Pion, it's your turn now. In this book you will find the perfect major wind law cultivation technique, and the booklet has an energy cultivation technique based on wind path, Hope you make good use of them. Robin handed the 2 books to Peon. Peon surely knew the value of what was in his hand. Having seen Caesar's exaggerated power and the immediate danger of death in every move from Theo, he knew that anything that comes out of this boy who seemed younger than him would be considered a worldly treasure. My lord, are you not afraid that I or Theo will leak your heritage? Peon gathered his courage and asked what was on his mind. Theo also looked in Robin's direction. He's also been wondering repeatedly about this over the past months as he contemplates the wonders of his law cultivation technique. You are smarter than this, that was the reason I choose you from the beginning. If something like this happened, I would be able to kill the traitor one way or another. No, whoever receives my work will be the one who kills you to try to get closer to me. But let's leave this aside and focus on the general viewpoint, and what if one of the techniques is leaked? Do you think I will strengthen you guys to satisfy my ego? This is just the beginning, and my dream is to spread my heritage to the whole world, but at the right time. I dream that one day the 3 of you will be able to reach beyond the sage's limit and build your own forces to dominate the whole world. Only then I can distribute these techniques and strengthen the rest of the world. When you stand on top it, tell me, Peon, who is going to be harmed by leaking my techniques now? Peon stood stunned by what he heard. To take over the world? No one should have the guts to say those words. Not even great emperors, but the 3 of us are now stronger than the emperors when they were our age. And after forming our pillars from these laws, we will be much stronger than them with every step we take. If we work under the banner of the same master, will it be difficult to achieve this dream? When he saw Peon's absence in his thoughts, Theo moved beside him and slapped him in the back of the head, when he regained consciousness and bowed. It was just a question, my lord. Please don't get angry. This Peon will only work to gain your satisfaction. And I know you will. Go start your training. Don't show me your face before you master the law and break through to the 8th level at least. Understood. Peon took the 2 books and bowed again before heading towards his room. Yon Theo, I'm going out for a walk. You're obviously free since you've been on your knees all this time. Come with me, Robin said and walked out directly. Theo soon caught up and walked behind him like his shadow. Theo guessed that Robin is visiting his favorite restaurant to celebrate as usual. Only now that he had read and mastered Robin's technique did he know how hard it was to make it. Actually, a nice meal after making every earth-shattering technique sounds unfair for him. Or maybe he would go to the slave platforms to find another lucky man to support his little special forces. When Robin revealed what he was planning for them, he became sure that he wouldn't stop at just the 3 of them. But he was surprised that they took a different turn this time. After walking a few minutes more, Theo found himself in front of a huge store with a banner says Pill's Corner on it. But the door was closed. Robin found this very strange. A pill store this grand shouldn't be closed in broad daylight. But when he looked around, he found that most of the nearby grand stores were closed as well. What's going on here? Good morning, Uncle. Why are there many stores closed up today? Robin went to one of the small shops and asked the owner. Good morning, young man. Don't you know? Today is when the Great Bradley Auction takes place. All the merchants of the duchy must go there every year to try to win something that distinguishes their business. And all the centers of power also go in hope that they may find something to increase their power. It's considered the largest gathering of the duchy's symbols, the old man said with a smile. Auction? Do you know where it is located? Yes. It is in the nearest street to the ducal palace. When you arrive, you will be able to identify it at once. Thank you. Robin thanked him and turned towards his new destination. In front of a huge, luxurious building, Robin stood staring at it. Guards were all around it. Most of them were in the 12th level, and one of them was at the 15th level. It was clear that they were not slaves but all elite soldiers. Wealthy merchants, mighty powerhouses, and those with high status still flocking to the building with extravagant outfits and ravishing women in their arms. This was definitely the auction site. Robin quietly walked in behind them until a guard blocked him. Stop! Where do you think you're going? Inside the auction house, of course. Robin smiled. The guard looked at him from top to bottom and found that he's a 14-year-old and at the 6th level. This is a little above average for the sons of nobles, so he softened his tone a bit. We can't let everyone in because the places are limited, but if you have an invitation or a recommendation, I will let you in. Recommendation. Is Lady Mila Bradley inside? The guard was shocked by the question. Yes? Tell her Robin Burton would like to come in. I trust she'll allow it. The guard narrowed his eyes and looked at the strangely smiling teenager. I hope you know what you're doing or else. Then he called for another guard, repeated the message for him, and sent him to get Lady Mila's opinion. It wasn't long before the guard came out and said with a slight bow, Lady Mila invites you to her private room at the upper class. The guard who had stopped Robin also bowed and slipped out of his way quickly. The building from the inside was even more luxurious than the outside. It was a huge hall like a theater filled with luxurious chairs. At the upper section, there are private closed rooms with just a small window in every room overlooking the hall. After a minute of walking, Robin was led to one of those rooms, where he found Mila sitting by the window looking at the hall. Even after entering the room, she did not turn around. She was still fixing her eyes at the hall as she said, I didn't think a strange creature like you would attend such events. Haha, you're right. I happened to choose today to go to a store, but I heard that the owner is here. So I came to see what's going on. Robin smiled and went to sit next to Mila and then asked, What's up with Caesar? Hey, ask your family. Why do you think I'll have the answer to this question? Mila snorted. If you don't follow the movements of someone as important as Caesar, you would be a fool, and I don't like to get involved with fools. You! Why are you talking to me without fear? Don't you how strong I am? Mila looked at him angrily. Who else in the duchy, no, in the whole kingdom could talk to her like that? I can randomly pick someone from the streets and make him stronger than you, giving enough time of course. Do you believe it? Robin shrugged. At least I'm still a few months older than you, try to respect me more. It was an extremely arrogant statement to say the least, but she couldn't find a response to his words. Caesar was the simplest example that he wasn't joking. Secondly, he made that amazing never-before-seen fire talisman and magically regained his teenage body, so she can no longer deal with him as someone inferior to her just because he is weaker. Hey, we're both approaching 150 years old. What difference a few months will make? Just answer my question. Robin chuckled. Don't speak like I am an old hag. 150 years is still very young in the cultivation world. Anyway, there is no need to worry about Caesar. He was received in the Burton family as heroes are received. A huge banquet was held in Jura City, attended by all the available descendants of the Burtons to get to know their new family member. It was a long night, especially when the patriarch announced that Caesar is your adopted son and that you trained him. The whole banquet was in a state of astonishment when they heard your name before a wave of earth-shattering cheering came out of every one of them as if they had already become a Duke family. You should have seen this. Some of them thanked their god after making sure that Caesar is closely related to them and will fight in their name even if he does not have the blood of the family. Some old men shouted that only a genius like Robin could train someone like Caesar, and young people who did not witness your era started asking about you. But the elders ignored your running away part and told them that you were the #1 genius in the whole kingdom in your time, and that you left in order to research the truth of the universe, and that you trained Caesar for the benefit of the family. All in all, your kid is being treated like a gem, and your name has regained its prestige within the family. After you were a runaway bastard, you became a legendary figure. All that for a young genius? This is more than expected, much more. It seems that the family is not doing well these days. Robin frowned. This massive welcome for Caesar didn't put him at ease at all. Of course they aren't doing well. But this is not a product of today or yesterday. The Burton family hasn't produced a single high-leveled saint for hundreds of years. Even your current patriarch Earl Brian is at level 25. Still a mid-level saint like me. Without a strong saint leading the family, the rest of the families surrounding you will continue making raids. That's how simple it is. And this happening with the Burtons for ages. They would raid the mines and cities, taking lands from you to increase their own. Actually, every year dozens or even hundreds of deaths fall from the Burton family. Invasions and raids from families next to us? Aren't we all subordinate to the Black Sun Kingdom? Robin raised his eyebrows. He never cared about the family situation while he was still in it. Who is the fool now? The lands that the family can control depend on the strength of their army. Do you think the royal family distributed these lands to those they love? No. Every week little battles or even a small war breaks out somewhere inside the kingdom, mostly to acquire new lands from the neighbors. Mila stated as if it was a very normal situation. Doesn't this mean that the kingdom is in a constant state of internal war? Why doesn't the royal family intervene? Robin was shocked by this. It is known that an internal war is the killing of any country. In their view, the state of internal war is not a bad thing as long as the scale of the conflict can be controlled, and as long as the families swear to forget their grudges and join hands in case of any external threat. It keeps the noble families on alert and in constant search for strength, which will strengthen the kingdom as a whole. Don't you think that too, Mr. Genius? Mila rolled her eyes at him. Robin did not find anything to refute her words. Indeed, if all the families and the major powers are in a state of constant readiness for war, this will make the country military power stronger, and its defenses will be difficult to breach, but at the same time will this not consume the families internally in the long run, burn the resources on useless wars instead of internal growth, and weaken the sense of belonging to the kingdom as a whole? Robin did not comprehend their train of thought. To have a strong but internally disintegrated country was never a good thing. One of the neighboring kingdoms might be able to entice one of the bigger families to join them, and this is easy as the families obtained their lands by their own efforts. They would not feel that they would commit a great betrayal by taking such a decision. Anyway, do I understand from you that the Burton family is currently at war? It is always so. They lost a huge piece of land about 10 years ago to a marquis next to them. The loss was a painful blow that almost cost them to be lowered from an earldom to a viscountate. But Patriarch Brian led a large army in a suicidal operation to recover part of the land. A few thousands of your cousins died that day. But at the end, the Burtons managed to recover just enough piece of land to keep the title of Earl. The situation is worse than I thought. No wonder they had such a huge celebration for Caesar. Robin sighed. So, what happened after that banquet? Nothing exciting. Caesar began to challenge those of his level in the Duchy of Alton, and when he crushed them all he began to travel to the rest of the dukes to defeat all the geniuses of his level. When he finished he began to challenge those above him by a level. Then by 2 levels. Caesar is currently treated as a god within the Burton family. I think he is still in the Duchy of Stanley right now to fight one of their level 10 geniuses. Haha! All this and nothing exciting? Robin felt proud upon hearing this, perhaps because it was his son who had raised him since he was a baby. Perhaps because he was the one who got him that strength, or perhaps both. I witnessed that attack firsthand that day. No human or beast could stop that white flame at the same level. Anyone who faced it with a difference of at least 2 levels was simply inviting humiliation. Mila snored, then leaned towards Robin. You still aren't going to pass on the white flame technique to me? I won't be stingy with you. Oh? They're not bad at all. Work as a maid for me for 20 years and I promise you that I'll think about it seriously. Robin chuckled. Tisk in your dreams. Mila returned to its original position, looking through the window. Robin laughed but didn't talk more about it. Mila built her pillars to the 11 and 21 levels using the Fire Shard secondary law as well. After all, it is one of the most famous secondary laws techniques among the nobles of the Black Sun Kingdom. It's not that it is the strongest or best secondary law, but that the choices themselves were very limited. The number of discovered laws was not much less than 1,000, and most of those who discovered a law made it exclusive to their family or followers. Some even announced that they discovered a law and publicly used it, but did not make the law cultivation technique for future generations. Others completed the law cultivation technique but died before it spread, therefore the law cultivation technique died with them. In practice, the number of the law cultivation techniques available isn't much at all, especially those that had been researched to the 2nd or even the 3rd level like the Fire Shard's law cultivation technique. In any kingdom one can count those with one hand. Are you here to buy something specific? After a few minutes of silence, Robin asked. No, I was free so I came. Who knows, maybe I will find something that would help me break through to the next level. Something to help break through to level 25? Looks like you have high expectations for this auction. Robin began to look seriously at what would be sold. Huh? How did you know I'm at level 24? It wasn't announced, and all I told you earlier is that I'm at Saint Intermediate levels. Mila looked at him in amazement, the expression of middle levels included from 24 to 27. Damn it, woman! Would you stop thinking of me as a normal person? For God's sake. You! Mila was really angered this time. This old boy doesn't know how to treat ladies. Sure. Someone is moving on the stage. I think the auction is about to start. Robin didn't care about the angered lioness beside him at all. Seeing this, Mila just humphed and returned to her original calm appearance. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. If this is your first visit, then allow me to introduce myself. I am Lena. I salute you all and thank you for your presence today. I assure you that your coming will not be wasted. A very beautiful girl in sexy clothes announced as she was on her way to the middle of the stage. In an instant, Robin determined that she was at level 15, a very good level even in the scope of the whole world. She was definitely not just a pretty girl. I know that all of you are very busy. Don't worry, I won't keep you waiting for long. We're going to start today's auction with this piece, Pre-Kingdom's Age golden armor. It's still sturdy and would be an excellent addition to any antiques collector. Lena then gestured to a few girls pushing a cart with a partially broken golden armor on it. 800 gold coins. 1,000 gold coins. 1,050 coins. Voices rose one after another. The price of the armor eventually reached 1,700 gold coins, which made Robin stunned. This is just junk. If the armor is melted, the gold inside it wouldn't be enough to make 100 gold coins. Why would anyone buy it at such a price? You are too practical. The merchant who bought it now can easily resell it for more than 2,000 gold coins. This piece would be a good addition to any middle-ranked noble's office. That's what happens when you have more money than you need. You will start buying useless things to brag. What? Earl Brian didn't have anything like that in his office. Mila replied. Then Robin remembered the Patriarch's office. It really was filled with rare beast heads and artifacts. When I was a child, I used to think that the Patriarch killed those beasts and found the artifacts himself. The old bastard bought them with that much money? Robin still hasn't moved on from the armor and its price yet. Another similar item appeared. Then the next. Then the next. Till now it was all about antique artifacts or the heads of rare beasts. Do these people have a lot of money and want to waste it? Or is there nothing else worth buying at all? Okay. Now that we're done with the antiques part, we're going to start the weapons auctions. Are you ready? Lena said with a sweet laugh. Anything you sell, I'll do my best to buy it. Lena, I only wish that you'd buy my heart one day, said one of the young men present, making the hall explode with laughter. They all knew that the young man was also joking to lighten the atmosphere. Lena's is beyond anyone's reach. Hee hee. Maybe if you buy a few more times, I'll think about it. Lena chuckled. Okay then, we'll start the auction with this. A broadsword made by the best blacksmith in Stanley County recently. We fought hard to get it here. So I hope you can give it a decent price. We'll start the auction with 300 gold coins. A few girls entered pushing a cart in front of them with the sword of the broadsword. Its length was about 6 feet if the handle was counted as well. On its blade attractive linear decorations, and at the end of its handle a drawing of a roaring lion. 320 gold coins. Someone shouted after being dazzled by the appearance of a sword. 380 coins. This sword is mine. Robin, who was sitting on the top floor, was still examining the sword using his eye of truth. That sword is made of the same material as Caesar's halberd, and the halberd was not even a third of the opening price. Oh? You have a keen eye for raw materials too? Arg, whatever, generally most high-quality weapons are made of the same components, polished metal for the blade and forged wood for the handle. What else would they use? They are the two best options. What really changes is the amount of those components in every weapon, the shape of the weapon, if there are any decorative material inside like that golden armor, and also the person who made the sword. The more famous the maker was, the more expensive his creations will become. Mila said, and then she also joined in, for 120 coins. But the price, she said, was soon overtaken. All the people sitting here were either high-ranking nobles, great merchants, or powerful saints. Her presence did not intimidate anyone. Quickly, the final sword price reached 700 gold coins. Robin still hasn't digested what he's seen yet. So you are saying that all the high-quality weapons are technically the same except for the name of the blacksmith and the decorations on the weapon? That's absolutely true. Mila nodded. I know what you're thinking, but showing off a beautiful sword made by the famous Blank Dash is still cooler than swinging an ugly, nameless one. Even if Robin thought that Mila was exaggerating a little at first, but his doubts evaporated when he saw a few weapons being sold at astronomical prices. They were all of the same materials. There was nothing different between them but their shape, especially a spear that sold for 1,300 gold coins because its shaft was dragon-shaped and a bit longer than usual. It looks like these guys have a lot of money and don't know where to throw it. I'll make sure to put them to good use. An evil-looking smile appeared on Robin's face. That's bad. I'm not comfortable with that smile. Mila turned her head and frowned when she saw him. Haha. It is an honor that I made a saint. Not comfortable. Robin laughed out loud. You haven't told me yet. What did you want from that store you found closed up? And what brought you here? I don't think someone like you would move around without a goal. Oh, I made a little thing and wanted the shopkeeper to give me a price tag on it. But when I heard about the auction, I thought it would be the best place to know the true value of my creation. Robin said as if it was nothing. You made something new? What is it? Show me quickly. Mila opened her eyes wide and got close to him. She saw for herself the fire talisman and Caesar's white flame. Anything coming out of this young man sure would not be normal. All right. Robin pulled out a bottle and handed it to Mila. She opened it quickly and began checking it out. Inside were 9 pills with a distinctive smell and on each one a distinctive drawing of a brain, and inside the brain there was a number, but the numbering of the 9 was between 1 and 3 only. This smell, the spirit revitalizing pill. Mila asked in astonishment. She certainly knows these pills, as she used them a lot in her youth. I did a little modification on them. Like the one I did on the rabbit skin. Robin smiled and replied. What exactly do these pills do? Swallow one of those with number 3 on it, and you'll know. Robin shrugged. But if you take one, be prepared to auction the pills using your name. Mila did not hesitate and swallowed the pill, then closed her eyes and began to aid digestion quickly. Robin wasn't unrealistic. If he thought the pills were good enough to be auctioned off in a place like this, they were certainly not ordinary. Robin returned to focus on the auction. They were still selling weapons and armors. Robin remembered that he alone bought Caesar 2 halberds and 2 long daggers for Theo, and a light sword for Peon. They were all high quality. The demand for high-quality weapons was always high, and the number of potential buyers only increases with the birth of more sons of the nobles every day. Perhaps if... Ah! A shriek suddenly came from Mila, frightened Robin to nearly falling off his chair. What's wrong with you, woman? What's wrong with me? Me? You? Do you know the value of this pill? Of course I don't know its value. Why do you think I'm here? Robin looked at her in amazement. This pill. I feel like I'm a lot more focused and my mind is becoming sharper. If I'm not mistaken, can I stay awake for 5 days longer than normal? The more Mila analyzes what happened in her body, the more excited she gets. The pill contained a pattern of a secondary law that Robin discovered a long time ago during his early time at the Beast Zone. The law was very useful to him during his research, so he focused his research on it for a good while and completed its first level, and this improved even more after discovering the law of truth. The idea of making this pill came to him since he first saw the spirit revitalizing pill and knew its price, so he said to himself, if the people here intend to buy this crab for tons of money, then they better give it to me to advance further in my research. So he decided to make a spirit revitalizing pill that's much stronger than the current one by fusing the secondary blood impulse law pattern with the original pill. The results given by the pill seemed simple, but any cultivator intending to break through to a higher level would have known the value of every word said by now. This was simply a miracle pill. The higher the level of the cultivator, the greater his brain activity and energy, and thus the longer the period in which he can stay awake. But it is normal for humans to go to sleep. This is from the laws of nature and cannot be escaped no matter how strong you become. Even a girl like Mila who can stay awake for about 20 days will eventually have to fall asleep, or she will just pass out. But this is also one of the biggest fears of every cultivator. A few times, Mila would train in seclusion for 20 days and be about to completely form the 25th level. but she would gradually lose focus by the last days and forcefully stop her practice for sleeping. This problem can be overcome by repeating the process over a period long enough to get used to it and reduce the time it takes to break through. This can take tens of years, maybe more. But if she has this pill to help her... Oh, I think that's right. How much do you think the pill is worth? Robin asked as he turned to continue watching the weapons and try to recollect his previous thoughts. Mila moved her hand and hit him on the side of his head. "What the hell are you doing?" Robin shouted. "Stop acting like you made some candy. This is a revolution in the cultivation world. It actually can get me to the 25th level. Would you please stay focused with me for a second? TCH. Just ask what you want." Robin began gently rubbing the area where he was hit. "Tell me more about the pills. Is there something I forgot to identify? What's the secret behind these numbers on the pills?" Mila eagerly waited for Robin's reply. "You actually got it all. The only problem is that the effect will be better at the weaker levels than the following. I mean, if you were at level 23, for example, you would have had about half an extra day of awakeness and focus. Oh, there is another tip. After the end of the effect of the pill, you can take another one, but it will give you one extra day at most. You will have to sleep after that. After sleeping, the pills would be long gone from your body system, and when you awake, you can use the pills again normally. The first one will give you 5 days without a problem. As for the numbers, they are to determine the level of the effect. Those that have the number 1 on them are for those below the 11th level, the number 2 pills are for the knights below the 21st level, and of course the number 3 pills as the one you swallowed are for the saints. Are there consequences if a person of the 10th level had a 3rd level pill, for example? I asked Mila eagerly. No, it will give him a few days of awakeness, but it would be a waste to use on them. A level 3 is a very tiring piece of art, and I don't intend to sell them cheaply. I'll buy them from you. All of them. Just set the price and it's yours, Mila said hurriedly. Don't forget the condition you agreed to before you swallowed the pill. Robin pointed toward the auction stage. Is there even a reason? I'll buy them from you, and I'll pay for the pill I swallowed as well. Mila was really worried about losing any of the pills in her hand. I want to know their actual price by putting them up for auction. This is not the last batch I'm going to make. This is the best opportunity to announce my creation to find potential buyers for the later batches. Robin shrugged, refusing her argument. That? How about you auction one of each level, but the remaining 5 will be mine. I will pay you the final price that the auction will settle on for each level. I think that's fair too. You were a good girl and deserved special treatment, Robin said as he reached out and pinched her cheeks. As he was preparing to receive a slap on his hand or an angry shout, he was surprised that his hand reached her cheek and actually pinched it. The reaction he got was just a humph. Then she turned to look through the window again. Looks like this girl is finally starting to treat me like an equal, he chuckled thinking about this. The auction of the various weapons continued for about an additional hour before Lena announced its end. Thank you all for your enthusiasm today. Everything sold for a reasonable price. Lena is happy with you all. Haha. Now let's move on to the auction of rare beast carcasses. Wait! A female shout came from one of the private rooms, causing everyone to look at who was going to disrupt their auction. Oh, Lady Mila Bradley. How may I help you? Lena identified the room and smiled sweetly. I have something I want to put up for auction now. I think some of the attendees will like it. I'm assured the guests wouldn't mind that, right? Mila stood and moved closer to the big window in her room. Haha, Lady Mila. This is a very simple request, of course we won't mind. I'd like to see what Lady Mila wants to bring out. The guests voiced their agreement one after another until Lena finally replied. Although the auction items must be delivered before we start, we can make an exception for you this time. What do you want to sell? This. Mila took out 3 beads between her beautiful fingers. HM? Pills? Lena narrowed her eyes. Pills, in general, had no place in the auction. The pill industry in the world has not yet reached the point where it affects the powerhouses, therefore all of it is relatively cheap. What are the characteristics of these pills? One of the major merchants asked. He too was a saint who owned a large shop for pills and was surprised by the appearance of some of them in the auction. I hope you all listen to my explanation because I will only say it once. I frankly want to keep them for myself, but I am selling them for the benefit of their maker." The words were very rude. Mila really didn't want to sell even one. But her words did not reach the desired effect, but rather made the guests eager to hear more. Then she continued, "These are spirit revitalizing pills, but modified ones. The one with the number 1 on it can give someone below level 11 5 more days, give or take, a focus and awakeness, but the dash." Before Mila could finish her sentence, she was interrupted by the crowd. "What? Oh my, if it was with my son. He would have survived those bastards' pursuit instead of having been caught after 7 days of chasing due to extreme exhaustion. Is what you're saying is true? That's awesome." Mila didn't even introduce the rest of the pills, but the hall was already about to blow up by the yelling of the crowd. Robin didn't expect this reaction even in his wildest dreams. Everyone present was an elite of society. A pill for those below level 11 definitely wouldn't work for most of them. He didn't know if this was the reaction to the pill itself, or because they felt that the pill industry in general had taken a big step forward. "Please calm down," Lena shouted and gestured to the crowd to return to their seats, then looked at Mila excitedly. "Lady Mila, I didn't expect you to have such a rare treasure. Do you have a specific starting price in your mind for it?" "I haven't even finished my words yet. This with the number 1 is for cultivator below level 11. And the one with number 2 has the same effect for the knights between level 11 and 20, Mila explained. "What?" Some of the attendees could not remain silent and quickly stood up again. Another strong wave was about to start. "Don't interrupt me again." "Humph, finally the pill that has the number 3 on it has the same efficacy for saints between levels 21 and 30. That's it, now you may proceed with your shouting." Mila finally exhaled that she had fulfilled her promise. But the expected shouts did not come out this time, but rather a deadly silence. When she looked down, she found the crowd looking at her in amazement as if they had been struck by lightning, opening their mouths. Some of them tried to move their mouth to speak, but not a word came out. In the end, a saint gathered his courage. A few more days of awakeness and sharpness. For a saint? Is that possible? This was the question everyone in the audience wanted to say. "I assure you all of this, and I am responsible for every word I have said. I have tried the number 3 pill myself," Mila declared. "Then what are we waiting for? Lady Mela, please hand over the pills. Let's start the auction for pill number 3 immediately." A strong shout came from one of the private rooms. "Absolutely not. Lady Lena, I request half an hour before you begin. I don't have enough gold at the moment." Another one from a private room said quickly before Mila announced her approval. "That's right. I'm also asking for a timeout. I didn't bring in enough for this. And I need to summon my master." When Lena heard this, she understood that today's auction could no longer treat it as a normal one, so she gasped and declared, "This was an unexpected development, and therefore I will have to go according to your wishes. The auction will be stopped for 1 hour, after which we will start bidding directly on the number 3 pill, on the first and second pills." As soon as her words ended, most of those in the hall began to rush out in patches, among them those who went to get more money, and those who went to borrow, and of course the small merchants and representatives who went to call their masters. Mila looked at Robin angrily and said, "Are you happy now?" "Ahem. What can I say? This has slightly exceeded my expectations." "Stop provoking me. You are literally selling a treasure that increases the chances of breaking through to a higher level. Cultivation at the levels after 20 is very difficult. All saints have to wait dozens of years for a proper opportunity to break through. How do you think their reaction would have been?" Robin chuckled, then went back to see what was happening in the hall and hear the conversations of those who were still sitting until the hour passed quickly. The hall, which was originally full, is now without a single inch of space left. The auction house itself sent urgent invitations to those who did not attend, and they came as well. Cough, cough. "I, Lena, am proud that I was here today to preside over this auction that will go down in history. Our next object is pills, specifically 3 pills that have never before appeared in history. Normally I would start in order from weakest to strongest, but I know half of you will try to kill me if you do this, hee, so I'll start directly with the number 3 pill. Gentlemen, there will be no lower limit. I'll leave the determination of the value to you all. You can start now." 10,000 gold coins. Robin was shocked to hear this number. This was just the opening price. The pill business is very profitable. 13,000 gold coins. 14,000. The bidding continued for a few minutes until the sound of 55,000 gold coins. 55,000. Arg. I can't afford this. Damn it. I couldn't raise enough money in an hour. The hall finally came to relative silence after the final bid, until a hesitant voice came, 60,000. When Lena heard this, she almost jumped in joy. Now we have an offer of 60,000 gold coins from a private room. Is there a higher bid? But there was no answer. Everyone started looking around and shaking their heads helplessly. Second call. Side discussions calm down and those present have already made peace with reality. The number 3 pill now has its owner. The third call. Sold to the master in private room number 37. Lena announced with a big smile. This was a huge event. Ha ha ha. I've been stuck at level 29 for so long. I didn't think I would find a way to increase my chances today. It seems that my coming to this duchy was arranged by the heavens. A loud laugh came from private room number 37. Lady Mila Bradley, a large part of my personal savings is gone now. I only got this pill because you sold it at your responsibility. But now, can I ask where it came from? Everyone in attendance turned toward Mila, waiting for a response. While Mila herself looked at Robin, who shook his head at her, she then stood up and went to the window. Sorry, I can't say who the creator is. He doesn't want to be known yet. I can only say I know him personally, and that this probably won't be the last time he sells this kind of pills. Great! Powerful shouts came from below after hearing Mila's words. This promise was enough for them. Hee. Then I'll be looking forward to more of that hidden genius's work. These were the last words said by the new pill owner. He was quick to pay for the pill and get out immediately after. The auction then continued for the other 2 pills, although it was not as hot as the number 3 pill. Everyone still wanted to get one, even if it was a souvenir. Those were the first patch of its kind in history, a real revolution in alchemy. What would make a better antique? In the end, the one with the number 2 pill was sold for 11,000 gold coins and the number 1 pill for 1,050 gold coins. Robin did not know what to say. These prices and this enthusiasm for buying his pills exceeded his wildest dreams. What would happen if I invented a pill to extend life, or directly increase the chances of success? His memory went back and remembered the words of the all-seeing God that this planet is still a nascent asterisk and that he mustn't the planet and leave something for the later generation. So this is the task of those who walk the path of truth. Planet development. Only now did Robin understand the words of the all-seeing God to the fullest. Hey, what are you thinking about? Thinking about how you'll spend your new fortune. Mila teased from the side. Actually, this is the second reason for my little walk today, to spend some coins. I have a lot of those after selling fire talismans over the past few months. There is no need to hold myself back. I want to buy beast hides at different levels, and plants with fire, darkness, or wind properties. With Robin's experience, he discovered that the power of the talismans is linked to 2 things. First, what is written on it. Secondly, what is written with it. What is written on it is very clear after trying the skin of red rabbits. It is clear that there was a huge jump in strength when he used the skin of a monster associated with the spirit of fire more than it was on just a paper. So what will happen when he uses the hides of more powerful monsters? That's why Robin chose right from the beginning to draw the pattern on the spirit revitalizing pill, because it contains similar elements to the law he was trying to draw its pattern. Thinking about that, if I somehow made a more powerful raw pill, wouldn't it be able to show my pattern's effectiveness better? Nah, this is for the distant future. This doesn't have anything to do with the patterns and more but alchemy, and currently the pill industry is struggling, and it is very difficult to make better raw pills. But who knows? This may change after the revolution announced by Rubin today. Second, what to draw the pattern with. Robin initially used normal ink to write on the papers but did not show much strength. Even when he wrote in normal ink on rabbit skin, the strength he produced was barely equal to a level 3 explosion. Only when he used ashes from burning a few hides to draw did it show the power of a 6th level explosion. The pill's patterns were also patterned using ash from burning one of the pills. This was the reason for reducing the 10 pills he bought from the store to 9. It was clear that upgrading these 2 parts is the key to increasing the effect. Of course, there is also the soul exhaustion resulting from drawing the patterns, but this was related to the natural talent of the artist himself, and he has not found a solution for that yet. Hides. Plants? Do you intend to use these things to make something new? Mila's eyes sparkled. She was looking forward to whatever Robin would bring out. Right, hey. The auction isn't over yet. Why don't you help me buy the good hides from me in your name, then send them to my residence at the institution? You can deduct their price from what you owe me. After taking a number 3 pill and buying the others, she is owing Robin a lot now. A lot. All right, I will do this for you. Just remember to show me whatever you invent first. Haha, all right, Robin chuckled and stood up and headed for the door. I've achieved what I want from this auction. It's time to go back to my work. I'll the rest for you, thanks in advance. Mila nodded and stared at Robin's back until he disappeared from view, then kept staring at the empty hallway after he had left. She was glad that she and her father weren't short-sighted and made the right choice. This guy might just change the world. Robin stopped after he got out of the auction hall and turned to look at it with a chuckle. Are you proud of your master, Theo? Haha, you know what, I pit these kinds of shit pills aren't even good enough to be sold at the older planets. They aren't even pills. It's just an edible talisman. Arg. I almost feel bad for this. I sold them a 20 gold coins pill for 60,000 gold coins. Theo knew that his master was speaking to himself rather than him, but if he could talk he would have told him that was truly proud, and that his genius work that raised the pill value from 20 to 60,000. Well, whatever those plus 180k gold coins will keep my research costs covered for some time. I will make sure my next auction will be something worthy. Finally, he got his eyes off the auction hall and started walking again toward House 207. Welcome back, big brother. Do you want me to fix your room for your next retreat? When she noticed the arrival of Robin and Theo, Zara came running and said she knew Robin's lifestyle well and that what would follow his little picnic would probably be a few months of seclusion to research something. No need, I don't intend to search for a new law this time. All the bastards around me are getting stronger while I'm still stuck in the 6th level. I will increase my strength in the following period or else they will think their master is weak, haha. Robin's announcement made Theo smile. You weak? I'm afraid that even with the difference of levels between us and my current strength of the Law of Darkness, I won't be able to defeat you. Indeed, Robin was planning to increase his strength, but not for the reason he said, but because higher levels give him better natural focus and his soul gets a little stronger the higher his level. In general, this helps him a lot in his research. And as he helped Caesar, Theo and Peon already had nothing to worry about. Well, except for Zara of course, but she's young and can wait. The next morning, a large cart arrived loaded with various types of hides and plants, which Robin took and began to try many methods to how best use them, after completing his daily training sessions. 3 weeks passed quickly and it was time for the monthly delivery of the talismans. This was the first time Robin attended the exchange process. He was not interested in formalities, but this time he was anxiously waiting for the day. He wanted to ask the envoy of the Burton family what was going on with Caesar at the moment. Good evening, little Zara. I've come to pick up the Burton family's monthly share. A voice came from outside the house. Come in, said Robin, shocking the man outside. That was the first time he had heard a manly voice in the house. Could it be? After the middle-aged man walked in and spotted Robin sitting in the living room, he shouted loudly, Sir Robin, I didn't expect to see you again in my life. It's fortunate that I was chosen to come today. With a single glance, Robin knew that this man was at the 19th level. It was clear that he was a close follower of one of the family's saints. It seems that the family values these talismans greatly, otherwise they would not have appointed people of this level to protect it. Excuse me, uncle, if I don't remember you, Robin said apologetically. Haha, no need. I would be surprised if the genius and the father of the genius knew this old man. Is there anything I can do for you? When we came before we never saw you. This made us worry a bit. I'm fine. It's just that I'm often busy, but I wanted to ask about Caesar this time. Is he okay? Of course he's fine. 2 weeks ago he crushed that 10th level genius of the Stanley Duchy in front of everyone. He's been recognized as the #1 genius in the entire kingdom. Ha ha ha, really gotta thank you for that, Sir Robin. You raised our heads above the clouds. The man laughed out loud and said proudly, HM? This is going much smoother than I expected. It seems that the royal family has a really high tolerance. Then tell me, is there someone or something from outside the kingdom who tried to contact Caesar? I don't know if this answers your question, but the 8 Kingdoms tournament will take place in 5 months and Caesar has been invited to participate in it. The middle-aged man said hesitantly.